I'd like to call this meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official minutes reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Thursday, January 4th, 2024, the Press of the Atlantic City, and the Star Ledger, and also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, and WOBM News on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, and then after posting same on the Town's Hall Bulletin Board for such notices, and filing same with the Township Clerk pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Township Council on Tuesday, January 1st, 2024. The meeting dates have also been posted on the Township webpage.
Councilman Sikosi.
Here.
Councilman Lamb.
Here.
Councilman Loebman. Here. Councilman Iveson.
Here.
Councilman Quinlisk.
Here.
Council Vice President O'Toole.
Here.
Council President Coleman.
Here.
Item 5 are the regular meeting minutes from April 24th, 2024.
Move the minutes.
Second.
A motion is made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Iveson?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman.
Yes.
We're going to move to the honoring resolutions and presentations. Tonight we have Older Americans Month.
I'd like to ask that Laura Picaro...
Council President, can we
I'm
take a
sorry.
motion to move the honoring resolutions and presentations?
We could have that.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm good? All right. I'd like to ask the council to meet me down in the well for a presentation. And Laura, if you could please come forward. Yeah. I forgot to say good evening, everyone. We need to do that. I'd like to introduce Laura Picaro, who is the director of our senior center in Toms River. We also are welcoming invited guests from the senior center who are here to celebrate Older America's Month. I fit into that category. Toms River includes a growing number of older Americans who contribute their time, wisdom, and experience to our community. Our community benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. Toms River recognizes the need to create a community that offers the services and supports older Americans may need to make choices about how they age. We can work to build an even better community for our older residents by not limiting our thinking about aging, exploring and combating stereotypes, emphasizing the many positive aspects of aging, and inspiring older adults to push past traditional boundaries. So on behalf of Mayor Daniel T. Roderick and the Township Council, I do here proclaim May 2024 as Older Americans Month in the Township of Toms River, and we urge every resident to celebrate our older citizens, help to create an inclusive society, and accept the challenge of flexible thinking about aging. Thank you.
So I'm honored to stand here before you today as we celebrate Older Americans Month. This proclamation is not just a recognition, but a testament to the invaluable contributions of our senior citizens in Toms River. First and foremost, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Mayor Roderick and the council members for the proclamation. Your commitment to recognizing and honoring senior community is deeply appreciated. This acknowledgement is a powerful affirmation of the respect and value we hold for our older adults. Our seniors have dedicated their lives to building and nurturing our community. Their wisdom, experience, and contributions have laid the foundation for the thriving town we live in today. They are mentors, caregivers, and volunteers, continuously enriching our lives and strengthening our community bonds. As director of Toms River Senior Center, I am profoundly grateful for the opportunity to serve our older adults. Every day, I am inspired by their resilience, their stories, and their unwavering spirit. This proclamation energizes and motivates us to continue providing the best services and support to our senior community. Thank you once again, Mayor Roderick and Council, for this proclamation and for your unwavering support for our senior citizens. Let us continue to work together to ensure that Toms River remains a community where older adults are celebrated, respected, and cherished. Together, let us honor and uplift our seniors, not just this month, but every day of the year. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like our seniors to come up.
Come on, seniors,
Seniors.
we got you dressed up just for this, so come on up. Come right in front of us, it's okay.
Say. All right, Ted.
You know what?
Here we go, Ted.
You hold the proclamation.
All right, Ted. Yes, Ted. No, definitely.
Gentlemen, come on up. Folks over here, come on over this way a little bit, okay?
No, you hold it. I got another one over here.
This is senior privilege?
It is a senior privilege.
By the way, if there's any seniors here that have not been,
You're gonna hold the proclamation.
that
Yeah.
have not visited the senior center recently, you really need to go and take a look. It's really amazing how far it's coming in just a few short months. And I'll have to tell you, this lady has spearheaded the effort, and she's done a great job. She really has. Thank you. Hey, thank you. You're the man. You're the man. Good.
Hi, Lynn, how are you?
Thank you.
Grumpy? Don't tell her I said that.
Well deserved.
Hi, Laura. Sure, you're welcome.
Moving to item 7. Item 7 is the 2024 municipal budget public hearing.
This time, I'd like to ask our business administrator, John Solanas, to make a presentation. John?
Thank you, Council President. Mayor Roderick and esteemed members of council, I present to you Toms River's 2024 Township budget for adoption. Mayor Roderick and I are proud to announce that we are keeping taxes flat with no tax increase, despite collective bargaining agreements increasing and the loss of $3,107,271.50 in ARPA funding. We are keeping taxes flat by eliminating millions in unnecessary positions. Although it is not reflected in our numbers, We are anticipating a projected savings of $2 million on health insurance in the coming months, and $1 million in additional savings when the county takes over the animal shelter.
How much? What?
Because of all these cost-saving measures, we are able to hire 8 emergency medical technicians to decrease emergency response times, add another ambulance on the road 24/7, and more cops on the beat than when we took office, and fully fund the police department and emergency medical services. In addition, we will also elevate our roads to prevent flooding, construct new parks and improve existing parks, and increase recreational opportunities to our residents, with no additional cost to taxpayers. Our proposed municipal tax rate of 0.43 cents per $100 is unchanged from the 2023 municipal tax rate. An average home valued at $446,100 will see a municipal tax levy of $1,949.46. The total amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purpose is $89,377,095.38. Municipal taxes, however, only account for 26% of your total property tax bill. County taxes account for 21%. Special districts like fire and the improvement district account for 3%. Open space accounts for 1%, and school taxes, which are completely separate from the township, account for 49% of your overall property tax bill. An average home valued at $446,100 will see an overall property tax levy of $7,721.99, the third lowest levy in the region. We are working to reduce the debt the township owes by paying off $10,427,100 in bond principal, which is an improvement of $629,000 from last year. Our capital projects for this year include acquisition of the Boatworks Pier, expansion of the Surf Club Boardwalk, and improvements to the pavilion in Nortley Beach, elevation and improvement of roads, construction of new parks and improvements to existing parks, acquisition and replacement of vehicles, and improvement to township facilities. In summary, despite a $3.5 million budget shortfall inherited by the previous administration, we are keeping taxes flat while raising roads, improving and constructing parks, upgrading infrastructure, increasing recreational opportunities, enhancing emergency services, and streamlining services at Town Hall. We thank the council for your consideration of the budget, and we look forward to improving Toms River while keeping expenses down and not raising taxes. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open the meeting for public comment concerning the budget. Anybody like to come forward and speak? See? Yes. At this time, okay, if somebody's coming, okay, good.
Hi, Debbie Kersey, Bartine Street, Toms River, New Jersey. So I would like to know, since you have decided to throw away our pets in Toms River, who's going to pay for the mortgage on the animal shelter? What is the animal shelter current mortgage?
Is that a comment?
I believe there's
I mean, it's a question. What usually implies a question?
Would you like an answer from?
Yeah, I would like an answer from whoever knows.
Okay,
What
then
is-
I
Well,
will.
there is no mortgage on the property.
There's no mortgage, it was
No, we
paid.
have bonds, right? And all of our bonding for everything that we do is all mixed in together. So when someone puts in, for example, a new ice machine at the ice rink, it gets folded in. When they buy golf carts or upgrade a building, it's all folded into an overall debt service that, as you saw, we're paying down significantly, $600,000 more than the prior year. So there is no mortgage on the building.
And what happened to the $1 million donation? I would like to know what happened with that.
You,
'cause that certainly-
I do believe that question was asked, and I think you asked me that last time around, and we had said to you that in the lease agreement, which was passed at our last meeting, we protected that money and ensured that that money would go only toward the animal shelter in the future. A protection that did not, a protection that did not exist in the last will and testament of the deceased. The deceased also gave a large sum of money to the Ocean County Animal Shelter, which indicates to us that she was interested in helping out their efforts as well. So,
That means nothing? She gave us
Well,
$1
you've had my
million
answer.
and you decided to throw it away?
no, we've decided to donate it along with the shelter to the people who are going to run the shelter.
You threw it away.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Just, are you finished, ma'am? Ma'am?
Well, I would like to hear what
Thanks.
Mr. Quinzlick has to say, and maybe I'm not done. It depends.
Okay. Jim?
That was a good shell game. The fact that you move debt or consolidate debt doesn't mean your debt went away. We still have bonded money for that animal shelter. I think it was a 20-year bond at least, maybe 30. I don't remember. So we still owe on that technically. Just because you put it into another fund or mixed it up with something else, your debt doesn't go away. As far as, I'm sorry, you said that we're going to save $1 million on this budget by getting rid of the animal shelter. It doesn't cost us $1 million to have that animal shelter, so I'm not sure how you're going to save it this year, but that's more shell game stuff. Congratulations.
Also, aren't our county taxes going to go up? If you now are giving them however many animals, aren't our county taxes
Ma'am, your
go
time is
up?
up. Your time is up. I'm
So,
sorry.
I'm-
Your time is up.
Council President, may I just jump in real quick? and
Another
respond?
way that you're trying not to let the citizens of Toms
Ma'am,
River
say anything you want, but
speak.
we're going to give everybody the same
I'd just
fair
like
shake.
to, I'd like to answer Councilman Quinlisk.
I recognize the mayor.
So, Councilman Quinlisk, you had said that the debt doesn't go away. If the animal shelter is a continually draining asset, right, $1 million a year, I don't see how you're ever going to pay or make up for that. So you're pointing out that you're saying, hey, well, we owe money potentially that was used to build this facility. We're always going to owe that money, and we're always going to lose $1 million a year. This is not like a successful business. This is
It's
not earning money.
You're exactly right.
It's
It's not a business. It's a service to the taxpayers of Toms River, just like the
The
police,
service- and the
just like the
service-
CSOs, just like sanitation.
And the
It's a
service-
service that the
right.
people of Toms River have asked for, and that's why we have a bond on it. That's
Listen,
why
when you're
we
done-
have the facility.
When you're done pandering, just remember that the service will still exist when the county runs it.
The-
And when you're done pandering to the township employees, remember the service will continue under the county.
No, not quite the same that we have, and you know that, Dan. Stop lying.
Okay, let's
Okay.
move on.
Well, they'll have a vet. We don't have a
Next,
vet.
let's move on. Next speaker?
Phil Brilliant, 79 Holly Tree Lane. Sorry for being up late. I thought the council was going to speak first, so thank you, Council President Coleman. So a couple questions from for the budget. So in looking at the budget itself, it appears at the end of 2023, there was on December 31st a 47 million and change surplus. Okay, and of that surplus, in your budget, you're taking $20 million in change in as revenue into your budget, okay? Which is about $3 million more than last year and $20 million this year. And you're anticipating, if I remember correctly, about $20 million going forward to next year in your surplus. Am I pretty close number-wise? I don't know, whoever wants to answer. I mean,
I think you're supposed to direct your
sorry.
comments to the
Council
chair.
President.
No, I have nothing to say because you're rambling on numbers that don't make any sense, and that's why
Okay,
I'm not.
so I'm looking-
Actually, just direct your comments to the chair.
Okay, I will.
And thank you for your
So in the
comment.
budget, it says that $47 million was the surplus at the end of '23. This is on sheet 39. For 2024, there's a surplus of $47 million. $20 million of that surplus is going into the 2024 budget with a remaining surplus of $27 million. My first question is, $500,000 to run the animal shelter in a $147 million budget, and we can't find $500,000. I sent an email to the mayor, the business administrator, and I believe Councilman Nivison on May 16th, where I went through the budget and basically came up with about $600,000. In the budget itself, as we sit here today, there is $300,000 in other expenses under the animal shelter. I didn't even count that. So now if you want to, that's about $900,000. This is a budget. It's not a bank account. You can look at the numbers and figure out how you can find $500,000. You can find $1.6 million for law. You can find $2 million for an IT department. I don't quite understand why we need $2 million. We weren't invented and created yesterday as Tom's River. That's a lot of money to put out. It's a lot more than we've ever spent in Tom's River. So I guess at this point in time, because I don't want to ramble on and bore people, as the mayor may be anticipating right now, $500,000 is all it needs for the animal shelter to stay as Tom's River. You cannot tell me, and I was surprised that Business Administrator Solana said this was a money issue at the county. Thank you very much.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Julie,
ma'am.
Council President, I just wanted to correct Mr. Brilliant on something. You remember when I used the word surplus and I got reprimanded for that at like a meeting or two ago?
Dave,
it's
excuse me.
Reserves.
Can you point your mic towards you? Thank you, sir.
It's reserves that we have to say. And I'm being sarcastic here for the people that don't understand what I'm saying. So we have $47 million in reserves, and I was corrected because I said it was 17 million. And then I was corrected again when someone from the public came up and said that, oh, you can't use the reserves, only in dire circumstances. And we all know who said that.
Ma'am.
Council President, I just would like to clarify one more time for the people at home what reserves are. We have to maintain a certain level of reserves each year when you begin a budget or in between periods of time at taxation when the taxes are delivered. Surplus does fall, or reserves fall, but you have to regenerate that amount of reserves each year. If you regenerate less than that amount and your reserves fall, interest rates on your bonds will be higher as a result of a poorer credit rating. Tom's River was downgraded a number of years ago from AAA to AA, and the last thing we would want to see is another downgrade. It would cost taxpayers millions of dollars. So the reserves are there for situations like Hurricane Sandy, where you're unable to tax people. And that's why Moody's and Standard & Poor's, as well as the state of New Jersey and the DCA, require certain levels of reserves. So yes, a certain percentage of reserves gets used each year, and that has to be regenerated the following year. If it's not regenerated, it really hurts your credit rating. And that has happened to Tom's River once before. Who would want to invest in Tom's River if we did not have AA rating on our bonds? Who would buy our debt? Or are we advocating to be junk rated? I hope not. That's all I have, Council President.
Council President, one last thing. In 2023, the budget, if I recall correctly, it was only 10 million taken from reserves. And in this budget, 2024, 20 million was taken from reserves. And you're correct, we have to put that money back. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, ma'am.
Julie Adamek, Cedar Grove Road in Toms River. I just want to touch upon the animal shelter for a moment. There just seems to be such a dramatic difference from one meeting to another as far as certain individuals.
Ma'am, we're talking about budget. Please direct your comments directly to the budget. Directly.
This pertained to the budget.
You said individuals. We're not talking about an individual. We're talking about the budget.
The budget.
Yeah.
Well, you can't be throwing around different numbers every single meeting meeting saying that the animal shelter cost $500,000, which was what was said in a public meeting in January, and now say it's costing $1 million a year. There's a lot of massaging of the numbers. The other thing about this budget is there's a tremendous amount of money being put into legal fees. A lot of law firms are being hired on a consulting basis, and if the employees were not being mistreated, and you could keep employees working in this township building, you wouldn't be having to contract all these services out and spend more money. The engineering department, the fees went up. The legal department has gone up tremendously. That money should be taken out of those those categories and allocated to the animal shelter.
Carlos Amonsar, Carlos Amonsar, Winterham. I have a question for you, sir. If you know I'm asking a question, I did my little research. I know we owe 2.5 in the animal shelter. I have concern. Those employees that we're gonna let go, they live in town. They're gonna go unemployment. I keep asking, every move we gotta see what's the best situation. You got $2.5 million that is still gonna be our debt because it's going, the county's having, I don't know what deal or what the county might give us back or how we could work it out, but we still got $2 million that was from that building for the animal shelter that we still owe. So I would like, how are we gonna pay for that? I understand we got one big shebang, but every little thing has to have an income. I'm a truck driver, my truck gotta give me my money back. So how are we gonna get the 2.5 back from the animal shelter? Now there's a $1 million donation. Can we use that $1 million to pay that also, like that we only owe 1.5 instead of 2.5? The other thing too is,
You want to address this?
if it doesn't work with the county and everything returned back, we will not have no employees because we already fired all the employees. We will be garbage in reality. So I would like to please, we got to work it out with the county where we keep our employees because we cannot just throw them to the street. That's part of this budget.
Carlos, okay. Make sure you're focused on the budget,
Yes, sir.
okay, buddy?
So, we got to look over this stuff, I like it that you guys a lot better, but we still got to keep going. And, we got to find that solution. 2.5. How are we going to pay for that? Because that's got to be a new revenue that got to pay for that, a new tax that to pay for that. I understand the animal shelter costs $500,000 to be run. We got to find a way, or if not, we got to see what's the benefit we could get to pay for that 2.5 from the county, sir, because who's going to pay for that debt? Thank you.
Right.
Hello, Irene Watson, Messenger Street, Toms River. I attended the May 8th meeting at the Ocean County Health Department, and
Ma'am, are you speaking about the budget directly?
yes.
Seriously, directly? Not
Money?
It has to be addressing the budget at this time. We do have time at the end of the meeting, which you can comment on anything you want, but right now we're focused on the budget, okay?
All right, I think this might be focused on the budget. Currently, from the Toms River budget, it's a little less than 0.5% that goes to pay for the animal shelter. I think I'm right. The county, you have to pay the county taxes too. Regarding the animal shelter, we pay 0.018% for the Ocean County Animal Shelter. If we changed, and actually it could go either way as far as I'm concerned, but if we no longer have the Toms River Shelter in our budget, that will eliminate the 0.5%, and we will still pay the 0.018%. So you are saving money. Money isn't my issue with the animal shelter, but that was one thing that I did notice. Okay, thank you.
Tom Friedel, 752 Jacqueline Court. Sorry, I was late here. I heard a lot of folks talk about the budget. I heard a couple of people say stuff about $500,000. You guys have already allocated $300,000. Okay, total expenditure has been between 412 and about, well, going back all the way to 2018, 514,000 at most. That was the total expenditure against the budget. We're not talking about $500,000. We're talking about $200,000 at most. The mayor, I heard you mention at one point that this has been a draining cost on us. I have been trying to sit down with folks. I've sent several emails trying to share. I have a 501c3 partnered up. I went and talked with people that were far more experienced than me, who are willing to actually lease on behalf of the town. They're able to get state government, state and federal grants. They have foster partners. Okay, they can bring additional money in. They're willing to do a TNR program that we don't have. They're willing to expand on programs. They could actually turn this into a revenue generating. We're getting back to the budget, a revenue generating department. Okay. As of now, they're the only section of government that's actually getting more effective or more productive and less costly year over year for like the last 5 years. So the fact that you guys are looking, I mean, if you can't understand that piece, I don't understand how anyone is voting on a single item on this budget, which is absolutely disgusting. But I have all the pieces in play. If anyone wanted to sit down and talk, we could have done this a long time ago. If anyone wants to talk now, I'm still willing to do it. We can actually make money for the town, run a better quality program, address a more wide variety of issues for the residents of this town, things like mental health, things like senior care, things that we're trying to put into the budget now. We could actually positively impact these things with programs that we could develop out of this shelter. So no one's listened to me for the last 4 months. Well, a couple have. I don't want to take away from those who have, but it's really unfortunate for those who haven't, and the folks that won't even look me in the eyes. Punk.
Council President, I'd like to address what Mr. Friedel said. I did meet with a couple people that do this for a living, and I wish the mayor and the business administrator and everyone on council would give this company a chance to run this town. We could, everybody here wants it. We have volunteers, the workers. We had over 4,000 signatures to do this for the animals. Just give us a try for 6 months. I'll do anything I can to keep it. Please, let's put this back in the budget, please. Thank you.
Bill, just one second. Is anybody else that hasn't spoken want to make a comment?
I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Tom.
I know John Solanas said that, we're going to put some new parks in, possibly. Maybe we could not put one park in and keep the shelter.
Council President, may I jump in for a second? I just would like to, address the whole thing about parks and construction and things like that. That's all bonded. You can't bond for
please don't speak out. Let the man talk whether you like him or not. Just let him speak, okay?
I could always ask Assemblyman McGuckin to comment on this, Mr. McGuckin, but you're not allowed to bond or borrow for general expenditures. So payroll, health insurance, pension payments, unemployment insurance, all of those things, those are things that are included that you're not even seeing because we pay them on line items for the entire township. But anyway, getting back to projects versus people, you can borrow money for projects. You can't borrow money to pay for people, unfortunately.
Okay, Phil.
Okay.
Phil Brilliant, 79 Holly Tree Lane. Thank you, Council President Coleman. Thank you, Councilman Nivison, for the statement. And I do think, again, I'll go back, and this is a hearing, a budget hearing. If I understand the definition of a hearing, it means that the people who are going to vote on this budget have an opportunity to hear from their constituents. So I appreciate you giving me the time to hear. I'm going to go as quick as I can. But you also have the opportunity to make modifications. You can approve it with an amendment. You can approve it with a change. That is in your power as the council to make those changes. And just a few comments in. I know Business Administrator Solanas made a comment that there's probably going to be a $2 million savings in health insurance. The mayor just commented it also. So that, and if I understand the budgets correctly, that can end up in a surplus down the road. Okay?
Are you asking a question? Or?
I did, yes.
When you have savings or anticipated revenues, the way the law works for a municipality, you would need to show them for 1 year before you could budget for them. So an anticipated savings in health insurance would help with regenerating surplus, but it cannot be calculated into the calculus when we're figuring out what the tax rate would be. So all of those anticipated savings, they can't count toward the tax rate this year.
Right, but in the presentation, it did say there's an anticipated savings. You're already predicting a $20 million surplus at the end of the year?
No, we're counting on regenerating surplus. If you
of
had
$20
heard.
million.
We're counting on regenerating the surplus that was used.
Right.
Right? And
I agree, and I guess I'm just saying is, if that was, if a $500,000 was taken from that, but I understand what you're saying.
It's not a $500,000. I know you want to continue to repeat that number over and over again, but and you asked a question, it was answered.
Thank
you.
For your 30 more
comment.
seconds,
Thank you.
just the mayor's time.
I'll give you another minute, Phil.
Okay. And just looking at the 2023 annual financial statement prepared by our CFO, effective, I think it's December 31st, but was done sometime. I mean, $152 million was collected. There was an expected $37 million surplus. It ended up being $47 million. It gives the current administration the opportunity to take $20 million. If it would have been 37, you probably had to play with the numbers a little more. There's a $500,000 in this budget, okay? You can see it, and I think it is the council's prerogative to make that change. We're not asking for a lot, and I'm not asking for a lot, and I'm just one citizen in 100,000. But I think there's more people out there who think the same way. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to have a motion to close the public portion of the budget hearing.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 8 will be a resolution to adopt the 2024 Toms River municipal budget.
Move 8, please.
Do we get to comment?
I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry, Jimmy.
No, we don't.
Move 8.
We have no comment on the budget?
The council, I believe the council does have a chance to comment on the budget. Go ahead, Jim.
Why the-
Let's start with Mr. Lamb, please.
Making a motion to move 8, and I'll vote, and I'll make my comments when I vote. That's how we've always done it in the past.
Okay, so as we're taking the vote, comments can be made.
So, wait,
Is that all right, Jim? Can we do that?
you're going to make a motion to adopt the budget without discussion from the council? Am I wrong here? Anybody? Somebody?
We've never done that in the past. No. You've been here 2 years, right?
Sorry, what?
You've been here 2 years? We've never done that in the past. I made a motion. I'm just waiting for a second.
Motion in a second, right?
A motion is made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Council Vice President O'Toole.
I got to defer to legal on this because first of all, you can't rush it.
The hearing, we didn't have public comment. Council didn't have.
The council has no opportunity to speak on the budget we're about to pass or fail?
You can speak when you vote. You can speak on it when you vote.
Mr. McGuckin?
There's a motion and a second on the floor. With the motion, that takes precedence over anything except the one other motion that happened last time. Motion and a second, and a roll call would be required. Council members can comment during that roll call at any time, or they can take any other action they wish, but right now, there's a motion and a second on the floor.
Councilman Lamb, your vote.
Just want to say that After reviewing the budget in its entirety, not the budget-friendly one that you're reviewing, the full 86 or 80-page budget, it's the most responsible one I've seen because, again, the last 2 years, there's been artificial savings from the COVID grant or the ARPA grant, and that was, again, artificially creating a 0%. But before that, in year one, when I wasn't on council, there was an almost 8% tax raise, and then after that, there was a 0%, but it was being propped up from the, again, this COVID grant. Obviously, with the collective bargaining agreements that was handled in the last administration, there are going to be raises, and you have to cover those raises, and it's very expensive, and also we have a lot of projects that are going to be coming up, and we need those monies to handle that. So with all that said, I vote yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
I will second that yes, and the reasons why. Also, we had a very large tax increase about 2.5 years ago, and it damn near destroyed a lot of the fixed income people that live in HOAs, and they couldn't afford the dues. There were certain people. Sorry about that. Excuse me, sorry about that. I'm voting yes, and the reason that I am voting yes is that, as Justin said, the projects will be funded and all, but 2.5 years ago, we had a very large tax increase that really hit the seniors in Toms River hard. There's a lot of us that live in HOAs that have very fixed incomes, and dues have to be paid, taxes have to be paid, meds have to be paid, food has to be paid, utilities, and they struggle. They're still struggling. So when there's no tax increase, I'm in, and I vote yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Okay. Where the hell do I start? Okay, first off, there's, I said this many times, there's 565 towns in New Jersey, 564, and we're right around 70%. We could do better, it's true, but 70% of all the other towns in New Jersey have a higher municipal tax rate than we do. Doubled and maybe tripled in some instances. We're doing good, but we could do better, okay? That's number one. This budget is voodoo, period. Voodoo economics. I mean, I could be here all night, but I don't know, is my time limit 3 minutes also? Oh, it's 5. Okay, 5 minutes. All right. So, like right off the bat, in 2023, we had $290,000 in revenue from the CCO. And in 2024, it's zero. Zero. It's in the budget. Why? Who got the benefit from getting rid of that ordinance? Okay. All right.
What are we talking about? The CO? The seller CO?
No.
Yeah, he's saying we should bring it back.
Oh, no,
To
never.
bring in more,
Never bring it
more
back.
revenue.
Folks, we're out of order. Let's get back in order. Dave has the floor. Thank you.
Okay, and another thing is, on this budget, I see an increase, I can't figure it out, $1,700,000 on interest and investments. How can you know what you're making for 2024? Anybody can answer that question for me?
Tell us. I want to hear from you.
No,
That's
I
a good
don't know
question.
what that is.
Okay.
I'm asking a question, but that's huge. It's up $1,700,000 from last year. I don't know where that money's going to come. What bank? I'll put my money in there.
I could answer your question, but you'd have to tell me the line item, but we would see more
But you know this off the top of your head, sir.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. That's the problem. You're kind of incoherent when you speak. And despite your fans You're not making any
They're
sense.
not my fans, they're
You're not making any
the
sense.
residents
If
of
you
Township.
ask me
Excuse
a
me.
question,
Folks, gentlemen,
if you ask me the
Dave,
question, it needs to be coherent. And frankly, you haven't answered or asked any questions or answered any emails for the last month. So if you had any questions, you could have asked. Now you're asking me why would we be getting money? We would be,
Putting
we would be,
$2 million
we would be-
to the pier at Boatworks.
I think I
on
just
the river.
explained, I think I just explained to you
We don't even
that we
own the
purchase
property.
things with,
We don't even own the property.
when you're done, I'll answer you.
$2 million
Council President, I'm going to just let him
parks
ramble,
improvement.
and then if you want to give me a chance to speak afterwards, I will.
Well, you
Okay.
you didn't answer the question, so
I didn't answer
moving
which
on.
question.
All right,
You're
let's-
incoherent.
let's move on.
You're in an incoherent rant.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Dave, move on, please. If you're yelling out, folks, you're going to be eliminated too.
Okay, let me finish.
Seriously.
Let me finish.
Let's have some decorum. Hey, one more time, sir, and you're out of here. Sir, would you want to move that man? Patrolman, please move that man from the room.
No.
Move that man from the room.
Do not.
Move that man from the room.
Do not.
Move that man from the room. I asked him twice to get under control. He refuses. Move that man from the room. Okay, just please leave the room, sir. Leave.
Mr. Quincy asked a question about, let's discuss, he makes a motion.
Keep going.
Why isn't his
Keep going.
before his?
Keep going, sir.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Show some balls,
Keep
throw
going.
his guy out,
Keep
because he
going.
goes to his.
Keep going, sir. Thank you. Thank you. We
If
have,
you look at the budget, the technology department went up $645,000. That's a 65% increase. Legal services went up $300,000. The salaries went up $215,000 from last year. And you just go on and on and on, and everything is up. Our actual budget is up $1,400,000 in change. So I'm voting no, and this is going to be used against me. If there was a real budget, I would vote yes, but I'm voting no.
Councilman Loebman, your vote, please.
Yes.
Councilman Iveson?
Well, I have to be completely honest. I'm not an accountant, okay? You'd have to sit in a meeting with a group of accountants from the town for probably 10 hours to be able to decipher the entire budget, okay? I thought we would have had a meeting like that. I thought we'd have all been gathered together. Let's go over this budget. Probably would have taken an entire day, a few days. Nothing. I have no idea what I'm voting on. This is the first time I'm voting on a budget. I'm just being totally honest. So I'm supposed to vote yes for something. I have no idea what I'm voting on. So, yeah, a month to review it, but, you know, you could sit there and look at something. You don't even know what you're looking at. I don't know what I'm looking at. All these expenses for all these things. There's a million expenses.
I guess then, Councilman, I guess then the question is are you, that's if you, I thought you were engaging us. If you don't want, I won't answer.
No,
And if you'd like
I
to
thought
jump
we
in.
would have had a budget meeting.
Yeah, well, Tom, I don't know if you remember or not, but you probably do. We had our CFO leave just before the budget was due. We hired an outside firm.
Right, right.
And as you said, I set goals. I didn't want to see an increase in taxes. I set certain
I'm
goals.
basically just going to put my trust and confidence in the company that we hired.
Well,
Not
the
even-
do the right
tax,
thing.
In that.
the tax, you would put your trust in the fact that the tax rate is exactly the same and the amount being spent is exactly the same. And the question is, and it's entirely your vote, you know, the question is, are you in favor of a flat tax this year? Or you're not afraid of?
I would be in favor of paying a higher tax to keep the shelter.
Tom,
And I think, how many people would?
right, I'd like to, I guess then,
Wait a minute. Tom's going to take time and make his vote, okay? So we
Yeah,
can move on?
I'm just going to abstain from the vote.
Okay, that's fine.
Councilman Quinlisk?
It is a lot. It's a lot for somebody who kind of knows what they're looking at, and it's a whole lot for somebody who even has a small business and deals with smaller budgets. The government budget is completely different. There's a lot of information in here, and there's a lot of massaging of the numbers in here from 2020, 23 to this year's budget. There's a lot of shell game going on. This budget is a farce. Animal control expenses went up 50%. I'm not sure how that happened in 4 months when we've downsized a lot of things there, cleaned up a lot. The senior services, I see that the budget went up for salaries at the senior services, $80,000. I don't know how that happened when we saved money going to the new director. Now, he's talking about saving $2 million on health insurance next year. Yay! But he raised the price of it too. I mean, the price. He budgeted another $1.7 million this year for it. So it's not really. He's making it look more expensive this year, so he can make it look less next year. So a little bit of a shell game. Salaries and wages increased by $85,000. That's a 39% increase. Yet at the same time, we've lost. At one count, I had 64 employees. Came off their payroll in the first 4 months. It blows my mind. Other budget decreases, there's other expenses, a decrease of $235,000. It was moved from sheet 15 and nobody knows why. Our overall budget went up $1.441 million. But technically it went up by more than that because $4.6 million in grants and ARPA money, which Justin Lamb wrongly said, made comments about. ARPA money is for capital expenses and for nonprofits. It's not something you use to fund your budget and pay your payroll, all right? It gets used other places. It's free money, otherwise, that the government gave us as a stimulus because of COVID. All right, the fire department's got a bulk of that money, or got a bunch of that money. Our parks got a bunch of that money. Our little leagues got a bunch of that money, and the town did use some of the money where it needed it, but it's a stimulus. All right. So technically, with all those things in there, it was almost a $6 million difference, and he made up that $6 million by using $2.9 million in surplus. And Dave was right. The budget shows a $1.6 million extra in bank interest. So I don't know what we invested in last year that's going to give us an extra $1.6 million this year in bank interest. Extra $1.6 million. I understand. But did we? Did we get? How much assets does the township have? It's in. Look.
Just tell me.
The point
I was
is,
just trying to say we have assets.
he's right. We have assets, and every year we gain interest on those assets. Okay, but this year we get an extra $1.6 million. Extra. So there's no consistency in that. We got an extra $400,000 in municipal tax relief to help offset the $6 million difference. He's anticipating $100,000 in extras in court fees, which is pretty hard to do without police. And we also took in another $370,000 in taxes this year. And then the $3.5 million shortfall that he originally announced at the beginning of this term, which he would have had to show on sheet 28, according to New Jersey finance laws, but it's nowhere in here. That's because it didn't exist. He just made up a number, like I've been telling you for 4 months, and then he fixed that number, going back to what I said early on about tell a big enough lie. So that's what he did for you. There's 4 other towns that have animal shelters in the state of New Jersey. He's correct about that. But we are the only town that has a campaign manager and a BA and a CFO that are all the same from our mayor here. Don't ask me how the hell that happens. The budget was partially prepared by our CFO before she left, as much as she could, and then given to an auditor who does some stuff to it. But there was never a budget committee meeting, so none of us up here, unless there was something behind the doors, were involved in a budget meeting. There's no committee set up that I know of, and I've been here for the whole 4 months of this thing. Now we're into 5 months. And we never got to talk to the CFO, the auditor, so that we can get an understanding of this before we have to present it or adopt it by tonight's meeting. It's kind of ridiculous. There's so much more going on here. I really encourage everybody to take a look at it. I wish there was something else we could do with it, but I'm going to vote no on this.
And Council President Coleman.
I had 32 years in administrative responsibilities, which of course had a lot of dealings with budgets. And when we got to a point that there were questions that we weren't sure of, we called in professionals.
We don't have.
I didn't interrupt you, Jim.
Sorry.
We called in professionals. And since the CFO left, we had to get help. And it was a short period of time that we could do this. It's true we did not have a budget committee. That is true. And if circumstances were different, I'm sure we would have. But understanding that these were professionals that came in and helped develop the budget, my vote is yes.
Item 9 is an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Section 477-70, Schedule 12, stop intersections of Chapter 477, Vehicles and Traffic of the Township Code to establish stop intersections at the intersections of Minturn Road and Grover Road and Minturn Road and Foster Road to improve traffic safety for the area. This is a first reading.
Like to take a vote, have a motion?
Move 9, please.
A motion was made by Councilman Loban and seconded by Councilman Lamb. Councilman Loban?
Yes.
Councilman Lamb?
I want to thank Mr. Pascarella for fast-tracking this. This is for my ward. We have a number of intersections in Guilford Park that are not controlled by traffic control devices, namely stop signs. In the past, I had trouble getting these stop signs through. There was usually a daunting traffic study process that was made this kind of a difficult process, but it's common sense. If you don't have a stop sign, and there should be one at an intersection, we should just have one. So I want to thank Mr. Pascarella for working on that with me. So a number of other intersections that need stop signs as well, and I'd ask all my residents in Ward 1 to reach out to me and let me know which ones are missing, and we'll certainly get them moving forward. Thanks again, Mr. Pascarella. I vote yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Iveson?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Just to touch on what Mr. Lamb said, there are rules that dictate when and where you could put stop signs. You can't just request one and slam it in the ground. They have to do a traffic study. So if the study was done and it warrants a stop sign here, I have no objection. Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
Yes.
Moving to the consent agenda, all matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'd like to,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
like to
Comments on, and which other resolution would you like to have held for separate vote?
Q and W.
Q and W. Q and, I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't mean to jump the gun.
No, that's okay.
Any other, Jim?
Q and S. Q and W.
R, S, and T.
Roll call. That's your lawyer.
Yep.
It's another lawyer. It's another lawyer.
R, S, and T. Any others? Okay, then I can have a motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. No, resolution? No comment, but they can pull it off. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, any other ones that we'd like to have taken off for separate vote?
We already have Q.
We have Q. Any other ones?
R. We already have R.
We have R.
T. We already have
We have
T.
T. We had T.
V.
Which one?
V as Victor.
V as Victor.
S.
V and
H. Did you get X?
Sorry, we can't hear you, Tom. Go.
We got X and H. We got X.
We don't have
And H.
what was the last one, Phil?
H is in
Harry?
Harry.
Okay. All right, now I'd like to have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda.
Motion made,
A second.
second.
I heard a motion made first by Councilman Loban and seconded by Council Vice President O'Toole. Councilman Loban? Yes. Council Vice President O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi,
Yes.
Councilman Lamb,
Yes.
Councilman Nivison,
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk, Council President Coleman.
Yes. Can I call for a review of the ones that we have set aside? Things got a little confusing there.
Yes. Council President, it's H, R, S, T, V, and X, and W.
Did you
Sorry.
say Q?
I said Q.
Q?
I actually have a
Yes.
question on
V?
V as well.
And V, okay.
Yeah, we've got it marked off, Mayor.
We have it. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it's,
H,
you got it.
Q, R, S, T, V as in Victor, W, and X. Is that okay, Phil? Yes, thank you. Yep. Okay, and Resolution H, discussion? Is there discussion on H?
We're not.
No, we're not doing public comments on these resolutions, I'm sorry. Is there any discussion on H?
Well, the public can remove them. We determined this last meeting. The public can remove them from the consent agenda, but we're not taking public comment. So it's up to the council to have a discussion.
So then why are you asking them which ones they want to talk about?
They can opt to pull them off so that the council can have a discussion.
Okay. That's the procedure. I'm not sure, but let's talk about H. Open-ended contract for manufacturing, printing of services for, I think it's sorry, I wasn't prepared for talking about this one.
I think you have to
For the printing
move,
services.
you have to, just, Mike Cruglio, the clerk, should direct what's happening here, but
No motion's been made.
there's supposed to be motions on each item, and you got to do it in order, Jim. So you got to wait for council president.
No discussion.
You just don't yeah, when it comes to a vote, you have a
I
discussion.
make a
That's-
motion that we talk about stuff.
Jim, you haven't talked about anything in 4 years. This, you.
Because, Dan, I had a mayor and
excuse
council
me.
that was trustworthy.
Let's not
You
get
have
into.
to, you have to follow, you have to follow the
Let's follow the procedures. Mike,
I'm waiting for a motion to move item H.
Move H, please.
do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
A motion is made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
I thought we were going to discuss who
can.
these people were.
You can, when you're getting ready
But
to.
two people already voted on it. This is nonsensical.
Oh.
Go ahead,
Is this
Dave.
company local?
Tell us.
So,
It's in your
I
ward.
don't know who
Actually, I
they are. I think they're out of Washington DC, the headquarters. I'm not sure. So I'm going to vote no.
Councilman Nivison?
I thought we needed to garner some facts here before we voted, before everybody voted.
Councilman,
Because one councilman may have some information that the other councilman.
Did we not
could
have, did we not have clarification on each of the resolutions that the public and council people had?
I think we need legal counsel. Mr. McGuckin, would you please explain to these folks that the printing services are bid, they're opened by the purchasing agent, and that these are all the same printers that Mr. Sikosi and that Mr. Quinlisk voted on last year and the year before, and they always come in as the lowest bidder, has nothing to do with anything. This is a consent agenda, and could you please explain to the public how the consent agenda is supposed to be handled?
So the consent agenda under the ordinance allows items to be pulled off of the agenda. Council may discuss, they may make a motion on each of the items, depending on whatever they want to do. That's a decision of the majority of the council. In this case, on this item, there was a motion made and a second to have item H discussed. So in the absence of anything else, then that's what the discussion is. The roll call is taken, and the individual members have the opportunity to comment upon it.
Could you also
If
please
council-
explain the bidding process for the two gentlemen who have been here for several years but still don't know how that occurs?
Don't be condescending, please.
This is
So-
because you're not allowing the public to talk. It's not because you weren't allowing me to talk on the subject.
It's not my
This is
meeting,
something
it has
that's
nothing to
law.
do with allowing. Council President, is it all right for the attorney to address the public?
course.
So item H was a motion and a second. In the absence of any other motion, the vote is taken, and that's when the comment is made. It's a majority of the council. If council majority wishes to have a discussion about it further, then they would need 4 votes to require that. As far as these particular contracts, these are tax bills and notices that the township sends out every year. The township does in fact do our notices and requests for proposals for these items. These are the same companies that have been hired and done the work for over the years, certainly for the last dozen years, in my opinion, without looking at them, but certainly these are done every year.
I believe all of that is what Phil really wanted to know. Thank you. Moving on, the next would be...
No, there's not a next, there's a vote.
It was my vote, actually.
It's a vote.
I vote yes. My question wasn't pertaining to H, actually. It was just pertaining to any of them. I think we should discuss, if it's been set aside, we should discuss it before any votes are taken. Doesn't that make sense?
If council president gives somebody the floor, then it's their turn to speak. If somebody makes the motion, in a second, I have to take the vote.
So the right thing to do here is quickly make motions before anybody has a chance to talk about anything.
I would like to comment on Q.
We didn't finish with H yet, Tom.
I know, I'm trying to get it in before I'm motioned out.
No.
All right.
Q and W.
Tom, we have to take the vote on H, please.
Just trying
The
to...
vote, it's Councilman Quinlisk's vote.
He abstained. I thought, did you abstain?
No,
Jim.
I voted yes
Oh, on H?
on H.
Okay, I'm sorry, my fault.
Councilman Quinlisk, your vote, please.
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
Yes.
Move to Q.
I'd like to discuss Q.
Go ahead.
I pulled it out. Q and W. All right. It refers to this law firm of Donald Burke being retained to represent the town in our suit against Ciba-Geigy. I'd like to know how many NRD cases they've tried. For the public, that's natural resources damages cases. I don't think they've tried any.
That's an excellent question, Tom. And when we talked about this yesterday, you're right. You didn't ask me it, but I would have answered it then. NRD cases are very rare, and there are not a lot of folks who do NRD work. In fact, the folks that were hired initially, for example, Mr. McGuckin was on this case. He's never tried an NRD case either. We decided not to use in-house counsel, but to get a good litigator, because that's what you need in a situation like this. We're going to be fighting the largest chemical company in the world. We're fighting the New Jersey State Department of Environmental Protection and the governor, and I just think it's best to have a good litigator. Mr. Burke has represented and won many cases before the New Jersey Supreme Court and before the Appellate Division, so he's being retained for this because he's a hell of a litigator. As far as finding somebody with natural resources experience, we didn't have someone before, and it's not easy to retain. And lastly, Save Barnegat Bay's person that started out with this litigation, who was someone who handled NRD cases, they terminated him because he dropped the ball, and we were thrown, all of us were thrown out of the case. We had to appeal to get back into the case, and I want to hold these people accountable. Too many people have died. Too many people have been sick. We still have a higher cancer rate in Toms River than anywhere else in the state of New Jersey, and I think we need to hold them accountable. And Mr. Burke is, as I said, a hell of a litigator. You can just Google his name and you'll see how many cases he's won.
I'd like to continue with my questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's my understanding that Burke himself has been a plaintiff in NRD cases.
Sounds like a conflict.
It sounds like a conflict, and they're actually in court right now with Save Barnegat Bay?
Again, yeah, fighting each other.
That
right?
seems like a no-brainer.
And that matter has recently been dismissed.
No, it hasn't. Not to my knowledge.
It has.
Okay, well, this is the thing. They've also been in many cases themselves, from my understanding, as the plaintiffs, damaging natural resources. So this seems like the fox guarding the hen house to me. This is the biggest pollution case, probably.
Developing single-family houses? Is that what you're
Wait,
referring to?
I don't know.
Well, I think what
They're not developers, Tom.
well, I think,
Well,
Tom, I
no,
think
but what I've.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
What I've been informed of is they buy wetlands and they fill it, which is damaging natural resources.
NRD cases are like pollution cases, but,
Well, that's pollution.
listen, I don't want to debate you on that. I just,
The wetlands is what mitigates flooding and
I mean-
storm surges, so I don't know.
hey, listen, I
just
don't.
wanted- I just wanted everybody to know this.
No,
That's all.
I think it's important for everybody to know everything, but again, I would prefer a really good
I
litigator.
prefer to table this and let's put it out there again for an RFD and interview
We already
more
put it out
people.
for an RFP.
And I heard there were people that applied and
There's
were
already a
never given the
motion.
chance.
There were 2 law firms that responded to the RFP, Tom.
Okay. All right, well.
Mr. President,
It was our determination that the Burke firm was more qualified.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Jim.
sorry. You said this is one of the largest NRD cases ever. Is that correct?
No, you said that.
No,
I
somebody else
said that.
said one of the largest.
Well, I just assume in New Jersey, this is
It
probably one of the biggest.
It's a very big RND case.
It's a
there's
very
no doubt.
prestigious case.
It's not the biggest, we'll say it's not the
To
biggest.
handle.
But it's a big case, all right? And it's huge for us, especially here in Tom's River. But to put that in the hands of a firm that's never tried one of these things, yeah, that's great. They're a great litigator, but if they have no experience, they're going to get run over. And the fact that they've already been sued by Barnegat Bay, and Barnegat Bay is, I believe, partnered with us on going after Sibagagi over here, I think that's a silly decision on somebody's part.
All I can say is, if I were looking for an attorney, I'd be looking for a good attorney and a good litigator. And that's what he is.
Maybe he can paint our garage, too.
I know, well, listen, I think, I think Council President is correct. To a certain extent, even engaging some of you is just a waste of time at this point. Your entire purpose is to detract and distract and to create chaos in a meeting and obstruct.
I don't really think that's the case.
You had
Because-
weeks to ask questions about this budget, a month. You didn't ask a single question on the budget.
We're back on the budget?
You stood up here.
We're back on the budget?
Rambled on, odd numbers, incoherent,
I'd like to get back.
factless nonsense.
I'd like to get back to running the
And you
meeting.
have this crowd of people that you bring with you who scream from the back.
Gentlemen.
It's so unprofessional.
Gentlemen, stop.
They're called taxpayers.
Stop. Just stop. To me, I've run many meetings in 32 years as an administrator. This is ridiculous. Let's get back, if you're going to yell out, I'm going to have you removed. I'm going to have you removed, sir. I'm trying to speak, and I'm not going to put up with you interrupting me, all right? Fair, okay? I'm a fair person, and I want to give everybody a chance to speak at the right time. At the end of the meeting, you can say anything you want, okay? All right? And I will listen. All right, let's get back on the task. I've lost track where we are, Mike.
Taking a vote on.
There was no motion made.
Do you have a motion to approve Resolution Q?
Motion Q?
Is this only for Q or Q and R?
Q is the first one pulled off.
Bellevue.
I think we ought to do separate.
Separate.
Yeah.
Separate votes. Okay.
Motion Q, please.
A motion to move item Q is made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Sekozy?
I have one more question, please, Council President.
ahead, Dave.
Was this the attorney that was at Superior Court for the primary, what's the word I'm looking for? The primary case?
Yes,
Was it?
I believe so.
Well, for that fact, then I'm going to vote no on Q.
Councilman Iverson?
No.
Councilman Quinlisk?
If this is the same attorney that represented Lyndon O'Toole and the candidate, or supposed candidate for Republican race for Ward 2, then there's definitely conflict with that one. I cannot believe that anybody would entertain it.
Where's the conflict on that? Actually, no. I want to hear your opinion. Tell me your conflict.
Because he represented two.
Tell me what conflict means. Conflict what? Conflict of what?
Well,
Tell me what.
Excuse me, can we have was he compensated for that representation, or did he do it pro bono?
Define to me what conflict. What do you say when you say conflict? What do you mean? Can you define it for me? What do you mean conflict?
were they
I've been
paid?
listening to this. I've been listening. I'm impatient.
If you
Tell
let me
what you mean by
talk,
this.
I will ask the question.
Go ahead, Tom.
Was he paid, or is this how he's getting paid?
Is that what conflict means?
I'm sorry. Council President.
You know, $1,500 worth of legal fees.
Sellout. We're in the middle of.
Sellout.
Gentlemen,
Sellout. He's
sit down.
Sellout? I
Sit
told you
down.
from day one, I'm not a yes man. Okay? I'm a sellout.
Tom.
Council President.
You sold out. These are your people. I'm a sellout.
Councilman Quinlisk, your vote, please.
I'm sorry. I'm calm.
Maybe all of you will be quiet now that he left. Can you do us a favor?
That's enough, folks. Let's get back.
Deal with this every week with you people. You are.
Excuse me.
All right, Carlos, sit down. Carlos, sit down, Carlos. Sit down, Carlos. Sit down, Carlos. Sit down. I'd like to have that lady removed from sir.
Call recess for 5 minutes,
No,
please.
I'm not. No, we're going to continue on. There's no reason why we can't continue.
Council President, there's a vote on.
Yes, there is.
floor.
Continue the vote.
It's Councilman Quinlisk, your vote, please.
What are we voting on? I forgot already.
It is for
Item Q.
general litigation services for Donald F. Burke.
Absolutely not.
Council Vice President O'Toole.
Yes.
Council President Coleman.
Yes. Resolution R, what's the discussion?
Is she allowed to vote because they represented her? Is she allowed to vote on
I
this?
think she's allowed to.
Represented who?
I don't know.
Represented whom?
Did
What's
they
the conflict?
represent her? I don't know. I don't know.
Can legal speak, Tom?
It's up to the councilwoman as to whether she feels she has a conflict.
The councilwoman wasn't even there in the courtroom. How's that?
All right, the vote has been taken. We're moving
they
on to item
represent-
R.
Respect the man.
They never represented you, Lynn? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I wasn't there.
No, but did they represent you in an absentee?
What's it to
manner?
you? That's attorney-client if she wants.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Council President, we're on
Then
to
they
item
didn't
R.
represent- You're okay then.
All right, we're on R.
I wasn't there, Tom.
Resolution
No, okay.
R.
I didn't.
Move R, please.
There.
Move R.
Resolution R.
He didn't even vote.
Motion R, please.
There's a motion.
Hold on. R is one of those issues coming up for
Is there a-
discussion.
But discuss it quick.
Just wasting time.
I know, we're wasting time, Justin. Whose time are we wasting here at a public meeting, trying to educate the public as to what shenanigans are going on?
All right, can we get back on? This is Jim,
Moron that's better than you.
please.
All right.
Jim,
Make a point.
please,
Make a point.
Somebody called out R. Let's
Make
see.
a point.
please.
Tired of the waiting around for your point.
I'm not sure who called out R or Y.
Quickly, get your
I don't know.
Sorry, I may have scribbled R wrong. I don't know why that was. Oh, all right, here it is.
Yeah, make a point.
Would you calm
Make
the?
a point. Just make one.
Do I need to? Do I have
Make
to
one, so
apologize
just
to
make-
you again for
no,
next
just-
week?
Just make a point.
All right.
Just try to make a point.
All right.
Once. Try to make a point. Doesn't make a point once. Make a point. Hurry. Come on, get it out.
Mr. Council President, if I could.
Okay, so I'm questioning what this particular resolution's about, because it has something to do with parking, storage, and certain materials and equipment, and we're leasing property somewhere. What is this? Anybody know?
You should
We-
know.
we are
I
on
should
item-
know,
Why don't you?
because I was busy trying to battle the budget.
Mr. Council President, that would be item S. This is item R.
Yes.
And this is
I'm
item
on-
R,
oh,
the
God, I'm
TRC
sorry.
Environmental
Jimmy.
Corporation. They represent the township on the landfill.
I'm sorry, yeah, right,
obligation.
you're right. It's
And
S.
they have for a number of years.
Vote last year on it, Jim?
Will you calm the?
Any discussion on R?
I have a motion.
I'm not sure why I pulled out.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve R?
Motion R, please.
Yes, I'll make a motion.
There's a first. Was there a second?
Yes. Tom,
Motion made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Iveson. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Iveson?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
Yes. Resolution S.
Move S, please.
My apologies on that one. It was S that I meant to call out before, not.
Motion S.
Any discussion on S?
S, this discussion
We-
on S. Called it out.
We did have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Jim.
All right, so what is this for? No, I did not read this particular resolution. I had more pressing things.
be prepared for these.
Thank you very much.
Be prepared.
Thank you.
Jim, I did look into this.
So what is it?
This is a piece of property down in Ocean, I'm always going blank after this thing. Ortley Beach, thank you. Where vehicles and materials have been stored for many, many years. We're just continuing the agreement.
Okay,
That's it, simple as it is.
very good, thank you.
All right, the motion was made by Councilman Lamb and it was seconded by Council Vice President O'Toole. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Wait, it's in the
Yes,
public.
he asked a question and it was answered, but if I ask a question, I get shot down and belittled and,
Councilman Logan, your vote, please.
yeah, I voted yes.
Councilman Iverson?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Yes,
Council President Coleman?
Yes.
actually, public called it. I like that one.
Item T.
Move T, please.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Any discussion on T?
Yes.
Go ahead, Jim.
I see this as akin to Emperor Commodus with the 100 days of games.
What does that mean? What do you
Do
mean?
your homework.
I don't know what that means.
I know you
Tell me
don't.
what that means?
So,
Emperor who?
what we're seeing is more things to distract you from a budget and all the things that are going wrong with the town. We're throwing a concert series, which there's no discussion on. I never heard anything of it before this. And this looks like he wants to do it in Shelter Cove, and I don't know if any of you have ever been into Shelter Cove, but aside from the blackheads, the mosquitoes, the goose shit, and this flooded ball
I
field.
find that be very insulting.
And-
Shelter Cove is in my ward, and it's an excellent
and
place to
ball
go visit
fields.
with your animals and with people. I go there every day, actually. I find that offensive. That's in my area. That's my ward, and I find that offensive. Why don't you worry about your own parks
Okay.
and your own things that you neglect
Okay,
in your
so
own
we'll
ward?
just spend your part of the budget on this.
I think it's a very worthwhile,
So
it's a very small expense.
as where
It's a
I'm-
very good idea.
As where I may be okay with the concert series, I think the location is probably not going to be the best. Customers, people are going to get chewed up going there. It is true, because, come on, Justin, I've lived in Township my entire life. It is true. Okay, so my vote is yes to the idea, no to this particular resolution.
All right, so a motion was made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Logan. Councilman Lamb?
I think it's a great idea, and again, Shelter Cove I think it's a great place to visit. I go there often, and maybe Jimmy should start going there yourself and look around, and I'm a liar? How so?
You open your mouth.
You have something to say, Paul?
All right,
All
Councilman
right,
Logan?
and
Yes.
that's the last comment, Paul. That's your last comment, Paul.
Councilman
All right?
Logan, you-
Just stop, just stop. All right, let's take the vote.
Councilman Logan, your vote, please.
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
I have a question, please. What age group, what kind of music, what kind of bands? I need to
Public?
know a little more
Police?
about it. Councilman Lamb, do you know?
Yeah, we'll talk after the meeting, Dave, because I don't want to waste their time out there laying out. Stay after the meeting. I want to get through this. I want to get through this list because we have to go through every one. No. I'm going to go through the rest of the. Excuse me. Come to the microphone if you have something to say, or stand up.
Excuse
Can't hear
me.
you. Well, I'll tell you. Come on.
All right, let's stop.
All right, then, I don't know enough.
Then vote no,
What kind of
Dave.
band-
Just
I'm
vote no.
gonna abstain then.
Okay, that's good.
Councilman Iverson?
I'm an abstain also. I'd like to know the music.
Age group?
I'm not really familiar with that stage. Is that a great location? Have they done it in the past? Have they sold out? Has it been well attended? I don't know. We could spend the money and just a handful of people show up. Justin, have they done that before there? Have they had
I
concerts
know
there?
that we've done it, but I think it's a good idea, and I think we should try it.
Well,
That's my
yeah, but
opinion.
5 of them? I mean, I
Yeah.
think
You want to do
we-
something in another part of town, let me know. I'll support it because I think it's a good idea.
It's my.
a very small.
Also, my understanding, and this is not in concrete, but my understanding that they're going to use different style bands for the concert.
For each performance?
Yeah, there could be
Then
jazz.
I vote yes.
Rock, you guys got me so rattled here, I don't know what I'm doing.
doing that club.
Anyway, there's going to be various styles,
For Justin?
various styles of music presented.
Gangster rap band for you, Justin?
I can't hear you. What was that?
He said he wants you to have
All
a
right.
rap band. Okay, take the vote, please.
Councilman Quinlisk.
Sure.
Yes?
Yeah.
Council Vice President O'Toole.
Yes, sir.
Council President Coleman.
Yes. I'll be there with my guitar playing, by the way. Only
Item
kidding.
V.
Motion fee, please.
I'm sorry, which item?
V.
V.
V as Victor.
V, the public called that one out?
Yes, it was called out.
I believe
Dan called it out.
I believe the mayor requested
Mayor
this.
called it out. So does the public, now that they called it out, do they get a chance to ask their question, or are you going to make me try and muddle through it again?
Going to try and make you muddle through it again.
Okay, let's see what V says. We're calling on another law firm, Scare and Hansel, for professional services for up to $7,000 or $8,000 for 3 disciplinary hearings. We have. Oh, but okay, good. But so how come we aren't? Are you taking Dan's place with the interruptions? So the question is, why aren't we using house attorneys for this, or somebody we already have on our?
They served as a hearing officer, Jim, not as counsel on it. Meaning a hearing officer, an objective person that can hear the matter and come up with a decision as to what the appropriate discipline would be. We can't discuss the disciplinary matters.
I know we can't discuss it, so we have no legal counsel that can represent this. We have to pay more people.
We had legal counsel who represented.
All these attorneys we have in pool.
We had legal counsel that represented the township in relation to that. This was for a hearing officer.
Okay.
It's different than legal
Did I
representation.
answer whoever pulled this one out? Did I answer get your question answered?
That's far enough, probably.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Press on.
there was a first.
A second.
First was made by Councilman Lamb. Is there a second? Second. Motion made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
I have a question for the counselor, Mr. Pasquarella. These 3 hearings, they're for employees of the township?
Correct, and that's all we can say, Dave.
Okay.
Can't go any
I'm
further.
voting for that, no.
Okay.
Councilman Iveson?
No.
Councilman Quinlisk?
No.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
Yes. Resolution W. I think we've really hammered that out pretty well. Is there any additional
Move W,
comments?
please.
Could we have a motion and then we'll do
Further
comments?
discussion?
Yeah, let's take the motion first, please.
There was a motion made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Was there other discussion somebody wanted with this?
I don't know. I didn't hear anybody say anything.
I was going to ask to table it, but it was moved too quick.
Well, we could still vote to table. I think it takes precedent over somebody making a motion to move it. I believe the council said that last time.
I'd like to
so
table this.
I second tabling it.
There's just way too much conflict.
A motion to table item W is made by Councilman Iveson and seconded by Councilman Quinlisk. Councilman Iveson?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
We went to all these meetings at Toms River North, and we spoke, our attorney spoke, our mayor spoke, our councilman spoke, our residents spoke, and our teachers from this town spoke. I was so proud of everybody. I did not speak, but I was at every meeting, and there was one person that was conveniently absent, only one person. Justin Lamb was there. He was at every meeting. Everybody was there except for one person. This is such...
That's enough. We have somebody who has the floor. People, come
He was
on.
outside the door with material to hand out, because I used to talk about them. No, material about Ciba-Geigy and how dangerous it was.
You were there.
Oh, no, I know, but I think you're referring to somebody else that was
He had campaign
actually there.
material. We saw it.
All right, let's
All right,
continue.
there's a motion to table. Councilman Sikosi, it's your vote.
Dave, go ahead. Finish up, Dave.
All right, but it's so important that we fight the state and we get this 150 acres there. They're trying to build on it. We had to give them $17 million back years ago for property taxes. And I just think there's just too much of a conflict with this law firm. I'm sorry to say. So I'm voting no.
No, we have a motion for a table, Dave, right at this time.
Well, yes, thank you.
Councilman Lamb?
Pardon me.
No.
Councilman Loebman?
No.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
No.
Council President Coleman?
No.
Okay, the motion to move was made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Nivison?
No.
Councilman Quinlisk?
No.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
Yes.
Moving to item X.
Move X, please.
X was called out by the public.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion?
Leave it alone. Somebody in the public called out item X.
Do you want to handle it?
Do you want to handle it?
No.
You handle it.
All right, motion made by Councilman Lamb and seconded by Councilman Loebman. Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Nivison?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
I have to point out that from what I read on this thing, at least 2 of the movie nights are going to coincide with our council meetings, and one of them I think even coincides with the car show we do down in the summertime. So, although the idea sounds wonderful, again, I think it's just more trying to hide what's really going on. But I'll say yes because it should be a good event, hopefully.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
I'd like to thank Jim for his vote. Thank you, Jim. And I vote yes.
Moving to the reports.
Have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion is made by Councilman Loebman and seconded by Councilman Lamb. Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Nivison?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
Yes.
Moving to the approval of the bills.
Motion to approve?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, was that a second by
Yeah.
Jim?
Okay. Yeah, I'll second it. Sorry. I'm just looking.
Motion was made by Councilman Loebman and seconded by Councilman Quinlisk. Councilman Loebman?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
Yes.
Councilman Sikosi?
Council President,
Yes, sir.
before we adjourn, I have one thing to say. So I vote yes.
Adjourn.
Councilman Lamb?
I'd like to abstain from Bill number 24-02804, also abstain from Bill 24-02811, and Bills 02534 and 02639. Yes to the balance.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Jim.
My apologies, I missed it.
No problem.
I have to abstain for bills, all bills payable, Tech Elevator, Yezzi and Associates, and Remington and Vernick.
Councilman Nivison?
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
Yes.
Council President Coleman?
I have to abstain from Bill 24-01974, Preferred Behavioral Health. Otherwise, yes.
Elected officials' comments.
Before we go there, I want to make a motion, and I hope somebody can give me a second, that these meetings got to be put back up and left on the township website, every meeting. So I hope, I asked you over 2 months ago about looking into it and what the hang-up was, and that was the last I heard of it. I did make a motion at that time, so I'm making another motion that we keep these meetings up.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion was made by Councilman Sikosi to keep the council meetings up. Councilman Quinlisk seconded. Councilman Sikosi?
Yes.
Councilman Quinlisk?
these meetings should be up there for the public to see, whether there's a requirement for it or not. If you really think that transparency in government is important, which I do, then there should be absolutely no reason why these things aren't posted and kept up there for the public to see, for the public to easily find and not have to search through somebody else's website or Facebook page to get to it. So I vote yes, we go back to posting these meetings.
Councilman Lamb?
Yes.
Councilman Loebman?
I'm going to abstain.
Councilman Iveson?
Yes.
Council Vice President O'Toole?
I don't see any harm.
So is your vote yes?
Said yes?
I'd like to say something. I grant you, I'm very new at this. This is 5 months in. And in the 5 months' time, I look out in the audience, I see the same faces. I know there's, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people live in Toms River. They're not here. Same faces week after week after week after week. Virtually saying the same thing week after week after week after week. I could call it a certain kind of show, but I'll refrain from that. We're supposed to be civilized people. We're supposed to be able to communicate. We're supposed to be able to listen to each other, not yell over each other, not talk over each other. But that seems to be all that we do here. There's no civility. I don't know if you've ever heard of the word respect, but it goes both ways. It goes from us to you and from you to us. One person speaks at a time, one person answers at a time. It's not a scream fest. You do not represent the whole town. You represent a very small portion of the town, which is your own agenda. And your agenda has been one thing and one thing only: hate for one person. Don't you think there's enough hate in this world? The world's on fire, ready to blow up at any minute, and you can't do anything but hate one man.
Council Vice President O'Toole, your vote?
I'm going to abstain. Had enough.
Council President Coleman?
Yes.
Okay, passes.
Well,
By the way, can I just address Dave? Dave, when you brought that up last time, I tried to explain to you that I've not been involved in posting or deleting or anything of that nature. Unfortunately, of my many responsibilities in this position, that was one that I escaped. So that's why I didn't take any action, okay?
And
I
I'm
apologize.
grateful, and the Township of Toms River is grateful to watch this. So everybody sees in town, they can decide for themselves. And so I'm grateful that everyone that voted or entertained it or abstained. Thank you so much. So we can only wait to see what happens if it really goes back up.
Mike, did you get my vote?
You voted yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Council President.
Mr. President.
Bringing it up.
I'd like to make a motion that we go back to 2 meetings a month, because the workload of trying to decipher all this information, and it's too much all at one time. Nobody has time to do anything. So if we could break it up into 2 meetings, I think it would lighten the load on everybody up here and give the public a chance to educate themselves on fewer things at one time, because it is an awful lot to try and deal with. And for that, I'd like to make a motion that we go back to 2 meetings a month, and I'd dare say 6 o'clock, so Justin can get home earlier.
All right. Wait, okay. I'll second that motion, okay? And for the following reasons. All right, thank you for bringing this up.
I think you need a resolution for this.
All right.
But we didn't need a resolution to cancel it, did we?
It was at the reorg meeting in the
Why don't you propose it to the council
meeting
president in
meeting rules
writing?
and regulations.
Propose it to the council president in writing.
Okay.
And then we have a formal discussion and we get it on the next calendar.
Then that's what we'll do.
Well, but All right, just let me finish up, because if we start the meetings at 6 o'clock, more people can be here to come, and it won't be as much on the agenda. We could get through it quicker, get out of here by 7. Everyone always wants to leave, and it's a lot easier having 2 meetings a month. And so we'll write a letter to you, Council President, and we'll discuss it.
Well, I view the request of Councilman Quinliss to request a resolution to be prepared. Is that what you're suggesting, Councilman?
Yes.
And I think the request, as Mr. Pasquarello indicated, you would need a resolution to act upon that. So the Law Department can prepare a resolution, and Council can decide it at their next motion, at their next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Once again, Mike, I'm lost. Where are we?
Starting with, we'll do elected officials' comments, starting with Councilman Lamb.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to thank Mark Romeyer, our engineer, who's in the crowd. He's done a lot of hard work over in the area of Snug Harbor, particularly the areas of Mizzen Road, Pinta Court, and Ship Court. We're elevating those roads and are paved. And also we have an issue over on Rico in the Shelter Cove area. And Mark has been really working the neighborhood over there, making sure that all the residents understand that some issues that were happening in the past, that we resolve them. There were some elevation issues, some flooding issues. We had unusually more rain in the last few months than we have in a while, but yet there's some real flooding issues. And I want to thank Mr. Romeyer and the crowd for stepping up and taking care of that and being real proactive in fixing those items. Other than that, I just want to wish everybody a safe and healthy Memorial Day weekend. For those of you that are off on Monday, enjoy that day off with your families, and that's all. Thank you.
Mr. Quincy?
I encourage all of you guys to try and go through that budget. Although Mr. Lamb doesn't think so, I did do my homework. It's, I don't know, 80 pages or something. And I even have the abridged version, which is almost as confusing, but a little less information. I wish I had the Budget for Dummies presentation that Mr. Solanas put up, because then it'd be easier for us to answer some specific points as they came out, rather than trying to dig through this to give you guys information. That being said, I had another whole page of other stats and figures that I wanted to pull out, but I think the point's been made. Please take an opportunity to read the budget. Email me if you have any questions on it, and I'll do my best to educate you guys as much as I can on it, because it is a lot. Again, as he said, please have a safe holiday, and we'll see you back here hopefully in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Councilman Lubin.
I have no comments.
Councilman Nyverson?
I just want to thank everybody for coming. Keep coming. And tell your neighbors to come, so we get some more new faces.
Councilman Chakosy?
Okay. First, I want to thank Tom here, Councilman Nyverson. This guy is conflicted, but I believe he's a lot like me. He talks from the heart. He doesn't have anything prepared like me, and but he knows if it smells bad, he's not going to do it, okay? And you just saw how he is a sellout. How's he a sellout? My God, he's a free man. He wants to control everybody. Our time limits here, how long we can speak, the order, the procedures. Oh my God, it's terrible. 66 people have left this town. They've been fired or they quit. And this budget it's not a budget. Compare it in the past to the other presentations, and look who gave it to what went up there tonight. And I have this. How are we going to, it's 1,700,000 almost. how are we going to gain that in interest and investments? I want to know this stockbroker or whatever. I know interest is around 5%, but I'm trying to figure out the money, how many millions we have to have in there to get it. And so, on a lighter note, a couple weeks ago was Teachers Appreciation Week. I want to thank our teachers here in Toms River. They have a tough job. So many of them were students, kindergarten. They worked their way through, and they wanted to teach here. And I want to mention every year Ocean First Bank, they have a scholarship fund. So if you know somebody going to college, pass the word out to your relatives and friends. They have $300,000 available. So go online and get that money. And there's a lot of things that I'm worried about here. The two quietest guys in the past on council was Jim and myself. We were part of a team. We were invited in on every meeting. We were new, we didn't know, and everything was explained to us. We didn't agree on everything, but it was explained to us, and we felt good with it. It was the right thing to do. So now, with these projects down here in downtown Toms River, with the feds and the state, that build grant for the roads and the circle and everything, and the waterfront, that's about $7 million. I hope we don't lose that. I hope we don't lose that. And that project, the 6-story Twin Towers, that company is putting 3 to 5 million, I forget exactly, but it's a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 million on the waterfront, in bulkheading, boardwalk, amphitheater, lights, flower beds, and so that's like a total of $12 million. I have no idea where these grants are, who's handling them, nothing. I can't get any information. And if I go now, I can't ask anybody in the department because in the past, they had to CC everybody. Now I have to go directly to one person and ask. I mean, I don't believe there's control here. And I'm sorry if I'm bothering you and you gotta stay, okay? So I apologize. I'll try to
Please
wrap
stop
it up.
apologizing. That's all you
Okay.
do is apologize.
All right, yeah. And my one last apology.
I rest my case.
Okay, I'm out front. I'm number 1 in line, except for Jim and Councilman. Okay, that's perfect. Meds and meds. Look who's representing you now. Look at this council and look at the mayor and the business administration. And don't forget, I said I'm up front. So that says a lot that I'm here. So thank you. God bless everybody. Keep up the good work, and God bless Toms River. Please. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind words too, Dave.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Councilwoman O'Toole?
No, there's nothing left to say. I think it's all been said, more than once. Have a nice, very nice, safe Memorial Day.
Well, I guess it's just me. I don't have much more to say either. I wish we could get things back together. I understand the frustrations on both sides. It's a tough thing. And people ask me, how you like your job? I said, well, not too much fun, really. But anyway, I don't have much more to say. I do hope you have a very safe holiday. I'm looking forward to the parade on Monday. I've been asked to put in one of my cars in the parade, so I think I'll try to do that. But anyway, God bless you all, and thank you for everything. Okay, at this time, we're going to open up for the public comments. And remember, please get in line and try to come right to the point, because you do have a short period of time to speak. Carlos?
Council President?
Yeah.
Just remind everybody to state their town as well.
Yes. Your name,
Carlos
address.
Amansar, Winningham, Township, New Jersey.
Thanks.
I have a question. Who's here is Republican? So, why are we fighting each other? Don't we have a crazy election? Don't we want to put our people in? So, well, hold on a second. No, we're not going to point fingers no more. One, we need to, look, I feel threatened, not threatened, I'm a special ed guy. I'm not that human, I'm not that guy. I am here as a concerned person for my town. I will be campaigning. I will walk, not only my district, not only yours. I have friends in every one of yours district. I will campaign as a Republican. But right now, I can't even be proud of a lot of stuff. Like, I can't say that I support you. I can't say I support you. I can't say I support you. Why? Because everybody, it's a conflict. Come on, guys. We did a lot better, but we need to communicate. We need to educate each other. Because that budget, I don't know anything from potato. Now, Tom, I'm very proud of you. You're not a sellout. Every time you make a decision, I see the face that you did to your son right there. So for that, sir, I respect you. Because you are, whatever he sees in you, he's going to be. Somebody told me that. Sir, I was expecting you to speak on this budget. Everybody had questions. If we're here for the town, we have to be here for the town, not just because one cannot agree with the other. I like all you guys. I'm trying to be like you guys, but without the conflict. So can we please move forward? It's already half of a year that we wasted instead of making our town better. What are we gonna do for the funding that we need for the school? I didn't see none of you guys over there. So, let's stop wasting time. Like I said, the offer's still there. Dinner at my house, or, hey, listen, dinner at the Republican Center at the meeting. All of us in one table. How about that? Thank you and have a great day, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Debbie Kersey, Toms River, New Jersey, 32 Bartine Street. So the reason we people who seem to irritate some of you up here, or you're the town attorney, you represent us. We come here because we're passionate about something, and we have now 3 people who seem to be working for the people that they represent, and the rest of you just rubber stamp whatever the mayor says. You two text each other all the time. You're still looking at texting, and you don't even have the respect to not. You listen to everything while you're texting and doing everything else. So respect is earned. She's not here, but respect is earned. She doesn't respect us, so why are we going to respect her? There is no respect. There's no respect. We elect you, and we can unelect you. So you better remember that. Again, we come here for the animal shelter because it's important to us. When I went in my neighborhood to collect signatures, people were coming out to me. I didn't have to ring doorbells. They were coming to me. And a lot of them were asking me about recall petitions. And I honestly don't know that much about it, but it sounds like a really good idea. So just please remember that. You work for us. We don't work for you. You work for us. Don't shake your head. What are you shaking your head no for?
I work for you, personally?
You work for us.
Yeah, my ward, my first ward. Well, where do you live, in Ward 1, or where do you live, Ward 1?
It doesn't matter.
It does
you
matter.
work. It does
I'm a
matter.
ward councilor.
You work.
I work for my ward.
So we have something that we feel passionate about, and you don't care. So we have 3 people who care, and the rest of you who rubber stamp.
Big government.
You put buttons. You put budgets through. You do everything else. You have no idea because the miracle workers over here, and I use that in quotes, tell you to. I don't feel like you even have a mind. I feel like you just all vote together. So I'm just proud of Councilman Quinslick, Nivison, and Sikosi for representing the people who elected you.
Dana Tormola, Messenger Street. First, I want to point out how much calmer this room has gotten since this has gone away. And if that doesn't explain one more reason as to why a recall should be had, well, then you're not paying attention. I want to mention the COs throughout the town. We have not only done away with the COs as far as rentals go, but we have done away with code enforcement in general. And every day I drive through town and see numerous homes that are unkempt, lawns that are high. They are devaluing the property in their neighborhoods. This happened in Lakewood and Jackson 15, 20 years ago. It's the same thing. Unfortunately, other towns have also come across that, such as North Jersey counties run into that problem a lot also. Mr. Lamb, I did call you a liar because you've been a liar since you ran for council. You didn't live. You didn't live where you lived, where you said you lived.
Says who? You?
You lived on my street.
Says who? You?
You lived, yes, because you lived on my street.
Really?
So when the recall comes for you, come August.
Threat. That's a threat.
No,
Thank you.
it's not a threat.
Like a
We're
threat.
recalling you.
Like
We're recalling you.
Sounds like a threat.
And you lived on my street. And your wife lived on my street.
She owned a house there.
And you lived on.
And you rent a house there, don't you?
You lived.
I have a domicile in Guilford Park. It's my house.
You lived on Messenger Street when you ran for council for Ward 1. Don't deny it. There's plenty of people here who knew it.
Who cares? You?
The people who live in town.
I married my wife and she owned a house in the opposite side of town. So I have
And you
multiple
ran
homes.
illegally for your.
No, that's false.
That's actually
No, that's
true.
false.
It's true.
Aren't you building a house?
It's
I have multiple homes. She rents a home, doesn't work, and then she's going to tell me what.
So what?
You're not a taxpayer. You're not a taxpayer.
Because I actually do pay the taxes for my
You're not a
home.
property tax owner.
I pay the
You weren't
taxes
back
for.
then.
Shut up.
He's building a house in Ward 1.
He doesn't live there.
I live in Ward 1. I've always lived in Ward 1.
Anyway, Ms. O'Toole, you have to give respect to get it. You do as you're told. You yell at people. You criticize the people who have been coming to these meetings long before. Shut up.
So do you.
Wow, that's disrespectful, isn't it?
You have not been at these meetings nearly as long as most of the people in this audience. So you have no right to sit there and criticize those of us who have been coming to these meetings for 4 or 5 years. So thank you. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
What I see, that's your problem. You don't want to hear anything.
That's right.
No,
That's right.
actually,
That's right.
actually, ma'am, I listen to everybody in this room.
Same people. Same
You
6
have-
people. Same 6
my
people.
God, the two
All right, enough, enough.
Shut up.
I'm giving her the floor. She's not going to be.
Mr. Nivas.
Miss
thank-
O'Toole, please.
Thank you, Mr. Nivas.
You have-
for stepping
you have-
up and from actually doing. You're ridiculous. And
Your
Mr.
time-
McGuckin, I have to say, I'm really disappointed.
Your time is
I
up.
like you, and
Your
I'm
time
really
is up,
disappointed at
please.
the way things are
Ma'am,
going.
your time is up. Thank you.
Sure, he'll lose a lot of sleep over it at night. I'm sure he'll lose a lot of sleep over it at night.
Stop.
Keep walking.
Hi, hello, hi, my turn. Hi, everybody, I'm Liz Dorick, and I live on Pheasant Lane, and I just want everybody to take a deep breath and blow it out, because I'm up here to say thank you to a few people. And I also wanted to answer a couple things that came up at the last meeting. I know that we were told, the people that were concerned about the animal shelter, why didn't we ever go to the county to check out, if we were upset with the animal shelter? Yes, you did, Mr. Lamb. And we didn't have to worry about how the county ran their shelter, because we had ours. And that's why I didn't have to worry and go to the county meetings. But, however, I did go to a county meeting. I went to the commissioners' meeting, and I have to say it was very refreshing to see how a meeting runs. And I also went to the health department meeting, and that was almost okay, and I'll explain that as long as I have enough time. Ms. O'Toole, I'm sorry if you get sick of seeing my face here every meeting, but I want to let you know, I have,
What I was trying to say was one thing. A little respect goes both ways.
And I respected you enough to vote for you because I wanted a woman on council. And I have to say that I wish I didn't, because I simply, and with no disrespect meant, I have simply seen that one time you voted with your heart for the animal control officers, and for that, I thank you. The thing I'm trying to say is, I did go to those other meetings. I emailed you all about the meeting at the health department because you did a really good job in making sure that our business administrator got up there and told the county we didn't have the budget for the animal shelter. Unfortunately, our business administrator felt he needed to get up again at the end of the meeting, and he had the nerve to disparage or try to disparage a former mayor of this town. I have
It wasn't disparaging. It wasn't disparaging. It was a legitimate question.
I have no agenda. I belong to none of the Republican clubs. I don't belong to the Democrat club. I come here because at the beginning in January, I saw that our business administrator and our assistant business administrator both resigned within 30 days of this administration. And it set off a red flag in this heart of mine. And I started coming to the meetings. And now I realize that this is not like set it and forget it. I have to come to every meeting. I don't have an agenda, but I want to see what yours is. So I did go to that meeting, and unfortunately, he did. He brought up the fact, I'm not going to get into a debate with you, sir. I'm just going to say okay to you because that's the best way to deal with this. What he did was he was admonished. Tell me he was not.
Can I clarify? Council President,
Can I have another minute, please, Mr. Coleman? Please, Mr. Coleman?
Because she's talking about John having disparaged Mayor Hill, I would like to
Don't get into it. Don't get into it. Don't get into it.
I
Go ahead.
have-
Liz, you got 1 minute. Go.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Coleman. I just want to say that the chairman of that board, Mr. Mallon, had to tell our business administrator not to make it political. And I felt that looked bad. He did say that.
It was Mayor Hill who said that.
No.
He's right behind
Mayor
you.
Hill said it quietly first, and then Mr. Mallon said it.
Can I clarify what happened at that meeting?
I don't want to.
Because you don't want to know the truth.
I was there.
Let's move on. Come on.
And let me just tell you this. I thank Mr. Lubman for his emails back and forth about that situation. I thank Mr. Nivison for his email back on that. And I thank Mr. Quinslick for his email. I did not receive emails from the rest of you, but that's okay. I don't need the email for validation of what I felt happened at that meeting. But I do want to say, Ms. O'Toole, I'm going to be coming to the meetings, and it's because I need to see what's going on for myself.
Okay, Liz, I did give you an
thank
extra minute. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'm forever grateful.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Vicki Weiss. I'm the owner of the Mathis House downtown. A lot of familiar faces. We're going to do a really shifting gears because I'm, overwhelmed by this meeting tonight, but I'm going to be very direct and to the point. So I was given approval to open the Huddy House, which is going to be a new bed and breakfast on 801 Main Street, and that was given in February. And now I'm in June. I started this process last June, which marks a year. And as a small business owner, I am paying about $7,500 a month on a property with all of my insurances and my utilities, and my property taxes there are $10,000 a year. My property taxes at the Mathis House are $17,000 a year. Given the time constraints and the 17 pages of conditions that I was given to comply with, which I only have one left, which is pretty good. I've been fighting like a dog. But recently, I've been approached. You know that the Mathis House last year gave over $30,000 to nonprofits, which include our hospitals and a lot of places. And It came to my attention the other day because for 5 years I've been giving $5,000 to the New Jersey Association for Alzheimer's. And this year I told them that I couldn't because of the Huddy House. And there are people in our community that have different problems. They're a different scope of the problems. I don't want to get emotional because we've had a lot of emotion tonight. I would like to be very direct and to the point. My lawyer has given a letter requesting that the Township Council consider that if I'm in the historic downtown preservation area and I have an approved change of use, that perhaps you would consider letting me do an Airbnb or VRBO so I can start earning an income on the property. And if that's not a possibility, maybe we could have a sit down and talk about something that maybe I could open 2 rooms at the Huddy House. I've been very silent and very fair, and I'm hoping that you'll consider my request. Thank you. I hope you have a safe Memorial Day, and I'll be praying for our town. I know that we all took oaths on a Bible, and our Bible means something until we bring God back into our town and our community. Then we'll continue to live in chaos. So I hope you'll hear me this evening and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Julie Adamek, Cedar Grove Road and Toms River. The main thing that I want to talk about tonight is I've been attending these meetings since January, and I've attended other town council meetings under 2 of the prior administrations, so I know how these meetings should be run. I've never seen anything so ridiculous as these meetings, but the main problem is you have an individual who is absent from this room right now who has an anger management problem. Now, I think everyone knows that there was a meteorologist on a major network that got fired for having an anger management problem that was out of control. This person needs professional help. Now, the council president, it's your role and responsibility to have control of these meetings. And I cannot believe that this problem has not been addressed with by the township attorney and the town council president, and has let this go on for almost 5 months like this. Some of the things that I heard, the comments tonight, this was directed towards a councilman. You're not making any sense. You're incoherent. You haven't talked about anything. Just completely insulting fellow council the council members, constantly being belligerent, arrogant, obnoxious, insulting the residents. The residents have a right, this is a public meeting, and the residents have a right to voice their opinions. There's a complete lack of civility. Now, there's 2 people in this room. One is in administration, one is a council president, and I know that you individuals have worked in a school system or are working in a school system. So I know that these people have been trained on bullying and anti-bullying techniques. So I cannot understand why this is being allowed, but it has to stop because it's ridiculous. And to be throwing out the residents when they speak out after they've been insulted, demeaned, people trying to pick a fight with them where you think there's going to be a riot or a brawl like the last meeting. Somebody has to get control. And if you have to bring the HR person into this, they need to have training. Everybody needs to have training on civility. I don't know what country people were raised in, but this is totally unacceptable and it has to stop already.
Maurice B. Hill Jr., 300 Woodview Court, Toms River, New Jersey. Mr. Council President, I'd like to clear the record. I haven't been to any of these meetings. I've stayed away. I was the former mayor. I'm being blamed for a lot of stuff, but I want to get some things straight on the record. First of all, there's no $3 million deficit. As of the 12/31/23 Toms River financial statement on sheet 21, there's a $47 million surplus. That's $10 million more than we had on 1 January 2023. That same figure shows up on sheet 39 of your budget if you look at it. There's also no record of a 30-minute EMS call that I could find. The Oprah records indicated that over the last 3 years, the average EMS response time is less than 7.5 minutes. I was accused of not paying attention to the municipal garage. The municipal garage engineering report was completed in 2023 in July. Money was allocated in the budget, in the 2023 capital budget. Project went out to bid on 12 December 2023. Bids were opened on January 11th. The council voted that down. The money was in the budget. I also have been accused of the New Jersey reentry change of tenancy. That was denied twice, the application in 12/12 and 12/19 by our planner, who has since been fired. The planner recommended a change of use hearing before the Board of Adjustment so that the public could have an opportunity to ask questions and that New Jersey Reentry would be able to fully explain their operation on the record. Instead, the township attorney directed the zoning officers to approve a change of tenancy without a Board of Adjustment hearing and just 5 sentences on the affidavit on January 24th, 2024. I was not in office. I'm a member of the Ocean County Board of Health. I attended the meeting on the 8th. It was the first time I've heard anything about the animal shelter. We have never discussed it. At that meeting, according to Senator Singer and the Ocean County Health Department Chairman Jack Mallon, the only reason the county was involved is that Mayor Roderick said he was going to close it if they didn't assume the operations. Finally, this past week, the SLEO Class 1 applications for the Ocean County Police Academy sat on the mayor's desk for over a month. As a result, the candidates weren't allowed to enroll in the police academy that started last week. Now they may be able to join the Monmouth County Police Academy, but even with that, the Class 1s won't complete the course till the middle of July or August, and they won't be available for beachfront duty. I'm offended by the fact that we're getting letters and newspapers that are not factual, they're fictional. And it's paid for with my tax dollars.
Mayor, in all due respect, I do have to cut you off because I want to try to be fair and let everybody have the same
Could I have
same time to
another,
speak.
can I
Please.
have another minute?
You can come back up.
Can I have
You
another
can have,
minute? I'd
yeah,
like to
you can come back
continue
up,
what I
okay?
have.
You can come back, Mayor. You can come back up after the other people speak. Thank you.
Janet Lang, 37 Cedar Drive, and I concede my time to Mayor Mohill.
Thank you. Finally, council members, you represent us, not the mayor. You were elected. You've already had 2 ordinances that have been highly dissatisfied by the public. You've gotten signatures on 2 of them. If the one for the animal shelter is approved, that's going to be overturned. In the past, the agendas were published a week before the meeting. We had agenda meetings. Mr. Lamb sat on them. We had 3 council members. The department heads were there. Any issues were discussed at that time. You're having one meeting a month. You're not getting your agenda till a day or 2 before. That's unacceptable. You need to wake up and pay attention to the citizens. Thank you.
Phil Brilliant, 79 Holly Tree Lane. Thank you, Council President Coleman. I'm still a little taken aback that the consent agenda allows the public to call out questions, but yet we can't discuss what our questions are until public comment when you've already voted on it. So, I think it's something I want to look into, and I understand, Mr. McGuckin and Mr. Pascarella, they have their law degrees, I don't, but there's just something doesn't make sense about that, because I know historically, been at these meetings, it's been an opportunity. But just a few questions or just a comments on those resolutions, because, what I wasn't going to do was start texting the council people who I know their cell phone numbers and say, here's what I was talking about. I wish I did, but I didn't. Like on Q, for example, it talked about putting another attorney into the pool. Donald Burke, it was discussed, but there was a lawsuit that was represented by Mr. Burke, and he represented Councilwoman O'Toole, Mr. Burns, and I believe the Township. And there's a question there, is there a perceived conflict? I'll leave that. That was my comment there. On R, there's a question, this was about the landfill, about TRC environment. If you look at it, I know Councilman Lamb said to everybody, make sure you read this, you get it in advance. It expires May 31st, 2024 in the resolution. The agenda says December 31st, 2024. I think the resolution's wrong, because it should be. Well, but you can't look into it if we don't get the opportunity to ask the questions. You've already approved it. It's good for
Bill,
7
can I
days.
answer your question? There was an updated resolution that extended it until December of 2024.
Where was that?
I don't know if it was a clerical error. I'll leave that to...
And I will say the council did receive the updated one. I may have not changed the one on the website, and I apologize for that.
But I will say, though, this was the first time ever we actually had a packet on the website, so thank you. We were able to do our homework. On the concerts at Shelter Cove Beach Stage, and having spent over 30 years here in town and gone to Shelter Cove, and my daughter's played softball, so I've been there a lot. I'm not going to talk about the size of the flies, but where is the beach stage at Shelter Cove Park? I went there again today. I'm confused. So that was my question. I think $31,000 for concerts, it's fantastic. It conflicts with council meetings and Cruiser downtown, but I'm not quite sure how you do that there, because you also have to remember this is shorefront. You can't encroach. When I was on the Environmental Commission back in the 1990s, we increased the size of the shorefront, so I know where you can go and what your buffer is, so you need to be careful there. I'll move on from that. W, there's so much to talk about. NRD, okay, is not remediation. I'll come back.
Irene Watson, Messenger Street, Toms River. I attended the Ocean County Health Department meeting on May 8th. This is one question I asked. If you took over the Toms River Animal Shelter, would you follow the Toms River Animal Shelter guidelines of being a no-kill shelter? This was their answer. The Toms River Animal Shelter sends us animals that need to be euthanized. There are many who are passionate about having the animal shelter remain in Toms River, in Toms River's hands, and not being taken over by the county. Rallies were held, posters were made, and petitions signed. KILL, K-I-L-L, used in conjunction with the Ocean County Animal Shelter, was the one word that stood out on most of the posters. One said, animals will die. Posters and statements such as these are misleading and could understandably so influence people to sign the petition. Not to mention, it wasn't necessary to put Ocean County Animal Shelter in a bad light. Fight the fight, rally, make posters, and have petitions signed to save Toms River Animal Shelter, but present honest and true information. Be proactive. Posters could have said, for example, keep Toms River animals in Toms River hands. Have a sign-up sheet for volunteers to walk, not just a petition, but a sign-up sheet for volunteers to walk dogs, man the shelter 24/7, keep the doors open for a few hours a day. Have a fundraiser to build dog runs. For volunteers, reach out to the high schoolers, senior citizens, even those who need to do community service. Fight the fight, but do it calmly and honestly. I also asked
them, what would they do with the $1 million that was bequeathed to the Toms River shelter? They said it would stay with that building and shelter. I asked them, would they retain the Toms River workers? And they said they would apply and they would consider their application. I asked, what changes would you make in the interior or exterior of the Toms River Animal Shelter? They said they would build dog runs. And that's what I learned. Thank you.
Robert Burns, 531 Lily Road in Toms River. I have a proposal for an additional resolution that if you go back to 2 meetings a month, that anything that goes for a vote on the agenda has to be reviewed by you guys, and you each have to sign off that you looked at it, because too many, well, I'm not picking on anybody, too many of you are saying, I don't know. But if you get to review it, then when we ask you questions, you're all on the same page. And if there's any conflict, it's behind your phones, or you'll have a meeting where I agree on this, 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 and this. And then when we come to the town meetings, it'll go faster, and they'll say, why is it going so fast? You guys will already have answers. I also agree with the woman who was ahead of me about private citizens contributing to the animal shelter, if we keep it. And I suggest that we sign on a vet and bring a veterinarian in and bring in interns from veterinarian schools. And in exchange for their free services or low-cost services, we give them letters of recommendation of how well they did, working under the hand of an experienced vet in multiple varieties of animals, not just cats and dogs, but wild animals and domestic animals. And also bringing back charging people for animals. So if we get a horse, let's ask $1,000 if the horse is in good shape. And if it's a cat, maybe it's $100. And that'll help compensate.
Hi, my name's Janet Lang. I live at 37 Cedar Drive. I'm happy to be speaking to you again today, Mr. President. After the last time I spoke, I was afraid to come back up here, but because I was personally attacked, and you stuck up for me, so I really appreciate that. But I feel the room is a little safer now, so I feel like I can have a voice again, and that feels good on the inside, to be honest. One thing I would like to just make a comment on, the mayor chose to leave the meeting, and I respect that choice, and I'm up here talking now because of it, but the business administrator also decided to leave, and he's supposed to represent the whole town. And I think that his action in following the mayor shows who he's really serving. He's really serving just the mayor. Because if he cared about the town, he would have stayed and listened to the rest of the meeting. And I would also like to say that within the ordinance of Toms River, I think it's 40-9 or something like that, a resolution can be put before the council, which you've already said the council members can propose a resolution, and you can put a resolution on the books and at a meeting to remove him from his job. And that's all I have to say.
Bob Jenke, 979 Alexandria, Toms River. Just actually a point of clarification on the summer concert series. Where is the stage in Shelter Cove, or is that money budgeted to build a stage? I'm looking at you.
Okay, I was going to talk to the administrator about exactly a location specifics, and I guess Mr. Brilliant here seems to be the expert. He knows all kinds of tidelands issues that could arise, and maybe he can help out.
I was just wondering.
But I think the idea is that we're trying to do it fairly inexpensive and provide, again, some entertainment like they do up in Brick Township. I think Brick does a good job. I think we're trying to do that here, and again, not costing a taxpayer anything. And beyond that, beyond the details, the administration has put this in motion with the Department of Recreation. I look forward to working with them. At this time, it's still, well, let me finish. You asked me a question. It's still, again, the idea was, let's get to a vote. These council members that were prepared voted yes. The ones that weren't, well, that's a discussion for another day, but I'm looking forward to having it. It's in my ward, and I think it's a great idea.
And what I would also say, if you're always so prepared, maybe help the other council members
I
who
would.
aren't so prepared.
They call me. He calls me time to time.
Sir, can I
coach him along? when
Guys,
he needs.
comment? I don't know if this is going to happen, but when I was principal at the vocational school,
Yeah.
the county helped us out by bringing in their portable stage. And actually, I was a speaker on that stage.
I heard that.
So it's a possibility. Again, it has not been discussed, but I would say that would be something they should look into.
We could use your help. Would you want to help out with it?
I don't live in Ward 1, so.
No, but we'll be taking in volunteers from anywhere. I'm sure Phil would like to help out as well.
We have,
And
we have enough time
Carlos, yeah.
doing other things right now.
All right, great. We'll help out when you can.
Phil Brilliant, 79 Holly Tree Lane. I'd be more than willing to help out if that needs to be done. I just find it, again, it's...
You're the expert.
4 weeks away. I'm not the expert on
You said you
concerts.
were before.
No, no.
No, you said you were about
No, what I said was, where was the stage?
Well, I want you
and
to be
then I
involved.
said I thought there were limited areas you could do it on the beach.
I think you should be involved because you
you know,
seem like you
Give me a
are
call.
an expert.
Give me a call. Let's do it. So anyway, on W of the resolutions that were approved without public comment, it talked about NRD, and I think Councilman Nivison was right on, and I think somebody else made the comment. I mean, so first of all, and yes, this is what I am an expert on this, okay?
Please
and this
tell
is
me.
what I do every day. NRD is not remediation, and I think there's a lot of confusion there. It's restoration. It's an obligation by the party that caused the contamination to restore the natural resource, okay? Cleanup is separate. That's remediation. Restoration to bring it back. This 1,500 acres that Seba Geigy, now BASF, has to bring back, they've made a proposal. It's been approved by New Jersey, by the DEP, and to hire an attorney who has zero NRD. The other attorneys that were doing this, okay, I've worked with, I have experience with, they do a lot of NRD work. Every firm has a litigator, so don't give me you want a good litigator, okay? Because you're going up against the state of New Jersey, and do you know how many of these cases get won against the state of New Jersey on NRD?
Very few.
What?
Very few.
Very, very
Very
few.
difficult standard to over.
Very difficult. It's almost an impossible standard that you're spending up to $50,000 of taxpayer dollars on somebody who's never done it before.
Well,
that's my
they have
concern.
experience in litigating environmental matters.
Not NRD matters. It's unique. It is a law that was passed about 28 years ago, okay? And it is not easy. And by the way, again, you're going against the state of New Jersey who has put forth this. I highly recommend you make a change on that.
Good evening. My name is Brian. I'm with B2 Consulting Group. I also have over 15 years experience within animal welfare. What I've been doing over the last 10 years is actually doing this. I come to councils, I go to municipal shelters, I go to county shelters in New Jersey and out of state to consult on what needs to be done. That way you can make the appropriate decisions within the shelters, that whether you run yourselves or you work with on the county side of it. There are a lot of things that I see over my years of doing animal welfare that can be changed. I have gone to your shelter. I have comments that I can make about your shelter that are for and against it. There are a lot of things that I've seen that are not run negatively within the shelter. They are policy issues that cause a lot of issues. There are a lot of, what I've been hearing tonight is, I forget who made the actual comment, is when you defer, when you're not sure, you defer to an expert. I'm usually that expert that a lot of people reach out to, especially in New Jersey. There are a lot of misconceptions within what needs to be done and how to make everything done correctly to where the best thing for both your residents and the animals themselves. Those are all available to you as long as you have the appropriate guidance to do so. Now, as a council, I would personally recommend that you review the best options for both you guys, your residents, and the animals that you guys have. Because I know I heard it before where the idea of having a shelter is an option to the municipality. It is actually a statutory requirement that every municipality must contract or have your own animal shelter or contract with another entity, whether it's a government or a private facility, for those services. It is also a statutory requirement to have animal control, all within Title IV. Both of those are requirements that you must have. It's not optional for you. You do have a lot of options available.
Council President, I hate to interrupt you, sir,
Yeah.
but may I ask him a question, please? All right. What municipalities in New Jersey have you helped or took over? Could you turn this animal shelter into a profit? Answer honestly.
So there's always ways of doing it. At the end of the day, an animal shelter is a business, whether it is municipally run, county run, or privately run. Everything can be done in a way that your cost is not there. Now, I understand that you do have $1 million or whatever the number is that was entrusted to you guys. You also have an animal trust account, which is another statutory obligation. This is where your animal license fees. May I have another minute, Council President, or 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
You also have an animal trust account, which is another statutory obligation, which is where all of your animals' license fees. I believe, Tom's River, you guys have for spay and neutered dogs at least, it's a $15 fee, and unfixed cat animals, it is a $20 fee. 20 to 50% cents, 20 to 50 cents of that goes to the state. The rest of that goes to the animal trust account. Most municipalities use that animal trust account to cover your animal expenses, your rabies vaccines when you do those clinics, your animal control cost, and if you have a shelter, whatever your shelter costs, whether you're running that yourself or you're contracting out. Those funds are there. I just did the math before. If the numbers that we have, again, granted, they're 10 years old, but those last numbers that were made available, you had around 11,000 dogs in Toms River.
Sir, I'm going to cut you off.
Sure.
Okay, and if you want, get back in line and finish up.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie Adamek, Cedar Grove Road in Toms River. I just want to counter one of the things that one of the residents said previously. I have a picture of, from my cell phone, of the sign that I was using, and I think it represents many of the signs of those of us that were collecting signatures for the petition on the animal shelter. And it says, "Save the Toms River Shelter and TR Animals." And if you want, I can bring it up so you can see it for yourself. But it's right here on my cell phone. It was taken live from one of the local establishments. As far as the lack of civility at these meetings, I would make a suggestion also that you find a mechanism to be able to cut the microphone of the individual who is so disruptive, so belligerent and arrogant and obnoxious and insulting the residents and the fellow council members. That would go that would be a great benefit to this room and this meeting being able to function appropriately. And lastly, I want to talk about these letters that are being sent and this Toms River Bulletin. That is just an absolute waste of taxpayers' money. I don't want those publications coming. They're nothing more than propaganda and lies. The information on the police salaries, if you take a calculator and add up the numbers, they don't even add up. And that was pointed out in one of the public meetings, and it was republished in the Toms River Bulletin. It's an insult to the Toms River residents, and it's abuse of our taxpayer dollars. And as far as I'm concerned, at this point, you need to have a forensic audit.
Okay, your time is up. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Ashley Lamb, Bierman Avenue, McKinley Avenue, West Tarpon Way, Toms River. I want to make it clear that I'm here tonight as a public citizen in Toms River and not in my capacity as a board member on the Toms River Regional School Board, but I am here to talk a little bit about that and to appeal to each one of you, because every single one of you on the dais lives in Toms River, but you never come to my board meetings. Mr. Navison, I know that you were at one and you spoke about vaping in bathrooms, and I remember that. And Justin, you have come to a few meetings when you're not working, but I don't see anyone else there. And I see tons of people here at this meeting, other than Jean Mickle and Karen Wall and maybe a handful of other people here. No one comes to the meetings. The problem with that is also that former council president Gagan moved the meetings here from Tuesday to Wednesday to compete with our meetings, disenfranchising people in town that are stakeholders, and they have to choose which meeting they can go to most times. That's a problem. Recently, the state Senate passed S 3081, which gave districts under adequacy, which Toms River is, we're $91.5 million under adequacy, and they just granted license to our Board of Education to raise taxes in this town by 9.9%. Now, the reason for that is because they'd like us to be able to generate more revenue. We are under adequacy by $91.5 million, and a 10% tax hike in this town would only produce $14 million. That is a drop in the bucket when you're missing 90. But $14 million would definitely hurt some of these taxpayers. So I am asking everyone here, especially the lovely lady who's going to all the meetings now, please come to my meeting. Please add that to your list. Well, we're going to fix that. But the problem is that they are urging our board to hike taxes in this town, as Mr. Solanas so eloquently put, the giant pie up there. Most of it was me. I'm the problem. I get it. And there was a letter where Dan talked about how the school's raising taxes, but we don't have an option. It used to be that we had to raise them by a minimum of 2% and a maximum of 2%. So the Township of Toms River can talk all day about how there's no tax increase, and the Board of Education will continue to raise taxes because we do not have an option. The problem with that is that now the cap was removed and we can raise them to 10%. There are many board members that support that. There are many board members that don't, but the bottom line is that I have no idea what the residents of Toms River want because no one shows up to the meetings. And no one would know anything that we say at the meetings if Karen Wall and Jean Mickle did not write it. So I'm here to ask each one of you, and I would love a verbal affirmation if I'm going to see you at our next meeting, and everyone here, because as much as you show up here, I mean, I think maybe, can I make a suggestion? Let's move the animal shelter into the school, and then maybe people will come to the meetings. Because this is a real problem, and it's not going away. The issue is not the tax cap, the issue is the funding formula, and I need the taxpayers of Toms River to show up to the meeting and have their voices heard the same way they are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would just like to say one thing. I would love to go to your meetings. Right now, my wife is home with dementia, with somebody who I have to pay $200 so I can come here and get beat up.
We'll give you
It's great.
We'll give you a free
Okay?
pass, but I want to
All
see
right?
the rest of you there.
But trust me, I've been to board meetings. I'm an active person. I'm also on the board of trustees for 2 nonprofits, and it's difficult. I have to actually take her to a board meeting because I have nobody to watch her. Okay?
I understand that.
Thank
We're going to give you a free pass.
Mrs. Lane, I purposely
Dave.
stay away, okay? But if you feel, I just didn't want my presence,
I think that as a steward of the Township of Toms River, it's important for all of us to attend each other's meetings. I try to make the commissioner meetings when I can. I make these meetings whenever I can. Honestly, the one meeting at the end of the month is really the only reason why I'm even able to make these, because our meetings historically, for anybody that doesn't know, are the 2nd and 3rd Wednesdays of the month. The public session does not start till 7:30. 6 p.m. is executive, so don't show up at 6 p.m. because you'll be sitting there for an hour and a half looking at an empty stage. But at 7:30, we open our public session, the 2nd and 3rd Wednesdays of the month. It may change for June because we're graduating our kids on, I believe, the 2nd Wednesday. So just June might be different. But other than that, please come to the meetings, because if you want your taxes raised to 10%, I need you to tell me that. And if you don't want that, I also want to hear that. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I make a comment? I don't specifically attend the meetings, but my wife is a instructor in one of the township schools, and my daughter and my son-in-law attend all of the meetings. So I have somebody that's there that's telling me what's going on with it. And I'd be the last one in the world to vote against any kind of a raise for school taxes, because that's the thing that we need more money in, to make sure that those kids are taught.
Paul Jeffrey, 1661 Bay Boulevard, Ortley Beach, and I should make it clear as well, I'm speaking for myself, not for the OBVTA, of which I'm an officer. So first, I want to apologize for jumping on you, President, but we need to give you a bigger gavel, okay? We need you to stand up and bang that gavel when someone in this room is out of order, and just like you did, throw them out when you need to. And everyone, I don't care who it is, if it's over here, if it's over there, if it's up here, if someone is out of order, please pick up that gavel, slam it down, and that's what I wanted to ask you to do when I yelled. Bang that gavel and get them the hell out so we can get civility back in this room. It's an absolute disgrace. I also want to ask, I'm very confused. I used to come to these meetings, the public used to be able to comment on consent agenda. I heard at the last meeting that was completely skipped. At this meeting, the public was allowed to call out items, but then not to speak on them. So can someone explain what changed, how, and why?
If you take a look at the township code, and I don't know the ordinance off the top of my head, but it allows for the public to address the council in two circumstances. The first is a second reading of an ordinance, and that's required by state law. The second is the general public comment session, which is what we're doing now. It doesn't allow for comment. I understand it was done that way previously, but it does not allow for comment on each individual resolution.
Then I would suggest you just take them off the agenda. Why even have them on a public agenda if the public is not allowed to comment? And by the way, once in a while, I would come up and give a positive comment. We can't even do that. If there was a consent agenda to put sand on the beach in Ortley Beach, thank you for getting it done, whoever did, the sand is there. I would stand up and say thank you. I'm not allowed to do that either. It's an absolute joke.
You could do
Fix it.
You could do it during the general public.
Fix it.
You could do it
doesn't
right now.
help for us to make comments after you voted is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So I ask you as the attorney and whoever else is necessary, get a resolution on the books to change it. Otherwise, you're going to hear us here at every meeting screaming at you until you get it right. Do I have an agreement that someone will put up a resolution to change the process and get it right?
It's up to the people to my left and the people to my right.
I'll write the email for that one, and I do want to say that he may be correct legally, but we are used to an open and transparent government, and although this mayor promised more transparency, he's actually provided us with far less information.
Well, and frankly, the problem in this room is a total lack of transparency. So the last thing I'd like to ask is, why did the beach badge sales disappear from the report? Anybody know?
No idea.
How many what are beach badge sales so far this year?
Why don't you give us a couple of days and I'll consult with the mayor and we'll get
Nobody in the room knows?
That's something that.
How much beach badge sales are in the next year's budget? Anybody know?
No, I don't know.
You know, this is pretty unbelievable. They can't answer questions and the people who could are not here.
Sir,
we need to fix it.
Your time is up. Yes, sir.
I'm back again.
Yes, you are.
Sir, I'm sorry. Can I just have your name and address for the record?
Sure. It's Brian with B2 Consulting Group.
Address?
I'm not a resident of Toms River. I live in Manalaban. To answer your question before, you can make the shelter not just profitable, but prosperous, to where your residents are happy and actually want to contribute more to your shelter. Now, I put in front of every one of you that I would be more than happy any day, any time to come here, whether it's in public or private session, to speak on what your concerns are with your own shelter, to see how you can make it better. I know I was saying it before, as of 2014 weekend, which was the last year, you had about 11,000 dogs within the township. If you take at your current license fees at the minimum rate, which is at $15, you're looking at $225,000 per year just in dog licenses.
Yeah, but Council President, I think we only collect on like 500 dogs. I don't know if that's accurate.
So that's on the number of registered dogs as of 2014. As of that year, your population rate has also gone up another 10,000 people.
So what are you suggesting, that we lower the fee maybe to get people?
Not
to pay more?
necessarily. It's your funds there. What I'm saying is your funds are there. What I would recommend is that the council looks within that animal trust account for those funds that you might be concerned about, to see how you're going to fund the shelter yourself. The availability is there. It's just a matter of looking necessarily where to look at. A lot of towns don't know that you have an animal trust account. If you don't know, you wouldn't be the first. I've stood in front of councils and they had no idea. So you do have that account that's, again, there under statutory requirement for use of animal within the animal side of it. Thank you.
Robert Burns, 531 Lily Road, Toms River. Just wanted to comment on the Seba Geige thing, that I think we got to be very careful. We got one shot at this. If we have to hire this firm, we have to have an exemption clause that if you guys find a firm that deals with this, that they have to agree to let us out of the contract because they have no experience. Unless they can bring an outside litigator in who can prove they have experience dealing with the state, with the EPA and the DEP. And that's because we got one shot at this. And the state is more than happy to walk away from it and make our problem. All right?
Once again, Tom Fridella, 752 Jack and Court, Toms River, New Jersey, 08753, just so we're clear. So I could talk more about the animal shelter. I could talk more about what the other residents said up here. You guys all have the numbers in front of you. You know what the truth is, okay? Whether you want to, admit to it or not, or just recognize that that you've actually seen it or not is a whole nother matter. Atul was right that, that many people I think are here that haven't been here. I'm here because my wife asked me to come. As I've said the first time I was here, I was against what she wanted me to be pushing for. I didn't think it made sense until I started looking at the numbers, until I started asking questions and getting ridiculous answers. Hey, why did we go from $500,000 a year to $600,000 to $800,000 a year? Well, because we bought a washer and dryer machine. Okay, the cost of that was $19,000. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the petition, we're getting dropped with this tax letter, and now it's up to $1 million a year. So I thank the councilmen that are up here, especially Mr. Iverson. Thank you so much for all your support with the petition process. But we also talked about fiscal responsibility. Now, we just talked about a summer concert series. There was money that was attached to that resolution, but no one knows what this is for. I mean, how many times do we come here and you guys are voting on things that cost us money, that's our money, okay? And you don't know what the hell it is that we're doing with the money. Are we renting a stage? Are we buying a stage? Are we paying the artists, or are we not? Like, what are we doing? How do we even know what the costs are? How are we even guesstimating that? We can't guesstimate there, but we can guesstimate in other places. Going just quickly to what Brian said here before me, there's roughly about $110,000, $120,000 a year that comes off of the actual dollar amount, the expenditure, the expense account for the animal shelter. So I think that there's more than 5,000, or at least there's money coming in from some other area that's not the donations. It's not the trust. Going through this petition process was it was interesting. The amount of township employees, small business owners, the amount of family members of township employees that feared retaliation, and they would come up and say, "Hey, will Roderick have an opportunity to view it?" I'm going to take a little bit more time, please.
Got 1 minute.
Okay, yeah. So it was appalling. It was appalling to me. It's just genuine fear. These people scratching their names off of a list because they fear that their spouse may get fired because they signed for an animal shelter that they want. Nonetheless, we still got there. And you spit in our face tonight. You all work for us. I don't care what section of town, what ward you represent, but every decision that you vote on affects every single one of us. This concert series, okay, is it only Ward 1 that gets to go? No, it's everyone in this town, correct? It affects all of us. So you have a representation in each section of town, but you have 7 people that represent Toms River, okay? All of you represent one town, okay? Remember that.
Thank you. Seeing no one else in line, I'd like to have a motion to end the public portion of the meeting. Aye.
Take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.